We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
What we do not do is spy unlawfully on Americans.
We are leaving in 2014, period. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse. In order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new all-out offensive.
You are listening to Biting the Bullet with Luke and Typo.
But
that's fine. Anyways, we were talking about your mom can't give up fucking Dr. Phil.
No, that's like the one cable news thing that she can't give up is Dr. Phil, dude.
That's hilarious.
She quit The View years ago when Trump got in office. She couldn't take The View. She couldn't take The View anymore. So like at least she got rid of that.
Something.
Like Dr. Phil is not like all like
I can deal with Dr. Phil because there's a lot of people on Dr. Phil that are wildly crazy and and it's not a lot. It's entertaining. It's entertaining.
Dr. Phil came out kind of against the lockdowns in the beginning. It was actually like, but he I don't know. It was kind of like it didn't blow up.
Did he do masks in his show during COVID?
Oh, probably. Dude.
That looks so funny. Like I'd be so pissed going to my therapist. Like I know this guy's not their therapist, but like, you know, going to if you had a therapist, and they're like, "Can you wear a mask?" And I'll be like, "I came in here to bitch about the masks, and you want me to fucking wear one?" Yeah. I thought this was a safe place, Jenny.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And it's actually really weird. There's a lot of people that are like proud that they have a therapist.
I know. Well, dude, it's like it goes to that whole thing of like people being proud that they have like some mental disease. Like it's like a thing right now. They're like all about it. That it's good to have that mental disease. It's like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why are you happy about your suicide?
It's really weird. They're like,
it's in their Tinder profile. It's like 3 suicide attempts or dating 2 suicide attempt. Fucking
and people like some people. Like, I don't know why, but some people don't lie on their Tinder profile. And I'm like, why would you not lie? Like, who cares?
Dude, when we first got out, our Tinder profiles weren't like anything about us. They were some stupid line. You had an office quote on there, and that was it for like a year and a half.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, I'm matching with a bunch of like, you know, liberal white women. It was working for me.
Dude, have you seen the thing on? I know I got you kind of hooked on TikTok because it's actually really fucking funny. There's a lot of really fucking funny shit on there.
Well, I didn't realize how it worked, but once you like get your algorithm going and like what you like, you start getting some good TikToks.
Dude, my algorithm makes no sense at all. So, but anyways, there was one that it's this one that's going around and it's like, show me my type of man is looks like a conservative or liberal men that look like conservatives. And it was dude, that was so annoying to watch. It was so gross. And it was just like, you know, neck bearded, tatted out, fucking gauged with gauge, like, you know, 2-inch gauges or 1.5-inch gauges. They look like your typical emo kids in fucking high school, you know? And I was an emo kid, but I didn't really look like that. I had long hair, but it wasn't like the frayed shittiness that their hair is. And then I didn't have any tattoos either until I got into the Marine Corps.
There's no way my parents were letting me get a tattoo or an ear piercing.
Dude, isn't that weird? Your parents signed off on you joining the military, but you weren't allowed to get a tattoo.
I never thought of that.
What kind of fucking logic is that? You know, oh, you can't get a job. Mom, I might not be able to get a job after I join the Marine Corps. I'm probably going to be dead.
Yeah. And then at least in your mom's eyes, like that's like,
well, yeah, I only had that. So that's why I used that as my only. That's my own.
And like the like, I don't know, the percentage of like military members that actually die in the military is like very low.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But in your mom's mind, when they're like giving you up, it's like 75% in their mind.
Well, yeah,
like they think
don't more people die
going
from
to war
suicide than have died in the conflict in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yes, but it's just funny because like your mom thinks like, you know, North Korea is about to pop off and you're in the front lines. That's what she thinks. They don't
Dude,
know.
I was a little drama queen my first like 3 months in Oki, because I think I was just trying to, you're still trying to figure your shit out. I was 19. I was in Okinawa, Japan. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was trying to be a badass. I missed home because I was in fucking Japan. Didn't go to the duty station that I thought I was going to. Was dating a girl that I thought I was going to be with for a long time. Ended up cheating on me. Obviously, she was a Marine. What do you expect? But I'd known her since I was like fucking 9 years old up at my dad's. And so it was weird that we ended up like meeting in the Marine Corps and comm school. Still, red flag, don't fucking do that, no matter how long you've known the bitch. And so I was being a little drama queen, and you remember the posters in the bathroom stalls that were like, "This is how far away we are from North Korea. North Korea, always be on the lookout." So I was putting that shit. I took a picture of it and put it on because I was like, "This is wild."
Dude.
I'm sitting here taking a piss, and it's like, "Be ready for North Korea. They could bomb you at any moment." And it shows like the nuclear range for North Korea, and like Okinawa's within the first circle. They're fear mongering their own goddamn troops.
Yeah,
so I took a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun to see," and while I'm taking a piss or something like that. And then I got a message from my stepmom. And she was like, "You really shouldn't be posting stuff like that. That really fucked up your mom." I was like, I'll go take it down. Like, sorry, I was being a little bitch.
The executive, our executive officer, I remember this too, because I had to update those fucking bathroom urinals, dude. I had to like those fucking posters in the bathroom that they make you like learn the North Korea weapon system or like the ranges and all that. Dude, I had to update that shit, and the XO was so set on like updating it. Like this is where you need to Marines when they're taking a shit need to read.
This is battle readiness, boys. This is battle readiness.
The max effective range of the North Korean rifle. And you're like, why are we? Dude, most people's on their phone, bro. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like most people don't look at the stall and read about North Korea. It was the weirdest thing, but he was so, I mean, you knew our major, dude. I loved him because he was like all
Mr.
about
Mr. Kelly.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
Yeah. I liked him, dude. I thought he was cool because he was he didn't really
weird,
care.
though.
He was super weird. He was definitely brainwashed as fuck. But he was just always more set on like Marine shit. Like that was his focus. Like he didn't really care about like those look good, gotta look good for your inspections. Like,
and he hated officers, or he hated lieutenants. It was awesome.
And he would admit it. He would yell at them all the time. Oh, it was beautiful.
He's the only person
Italian building.
He's the only person that I really saw treat lieutenants as boots. Like even a lot of our sergeant majors and stuff didn't, or our gunnies or master guns and stuff didn't treat lieutenants like boots.
Yeah, they were treated more as like colleagues.
Yeah, that's it. It was like business partnership, but Major Kelly, that dude would go after some lieutenant, some boot ass lieutenant, first or second. He didn't care. And I've seen him jump on a couple captains, and I've seen him jump on a couple of those guys. But yeah, he was fucking cool. I liked Major Kelly. He was actually like a good officer.
Well, it was weird too, because when our CO would just leave, because he would always be going somewhere, and then he would be in charge. And the Liberty brief was the most awkward. Shorter. It was, but he was so awkward. Where he's like he would say like, how to talk. Don't rape anyone. Like just you just skipped it. He just skipped all the the CO would get all into like the narrative of like, when you're having a few drinks, like Maybe you shouldn't
Yeah,
be
they
going
like
home
to tell
with
the
anyone.
story.
Yes,
Dude, that was the thing. The COs and like the first sergeants, they had to tell the story of what could
Yes.
possibly go wrong and then tell you not to do it at the end
Yes.
instead of just saying like, hey, like my safety brief every week, anytime they made me give the safety brief, stay out of the papers, stay out of prison, and stay out of the morgue. Like, don't fuck it. That's it. That's all you need. Stay out of papers, stay out of prison, stay out of the morgue. Go the fuck home. Get out of my face. It's time for me to get drunk.
Yeah. That's how it fucking should be, dude.
But yeah,
But
I thought that was funny about the Okinawa. I remember that so clearly. The fucking goddamn posters on the wall and on top of the urinal, just fucking sitting there telling me how close we are to a nuclear strike from North Korea. 19 years old. What the fuck did I know? I was like, oh, ComSec, fuck that.
yeah, you have no idea. When they tell you like something's a threat and you're a teenager, you're like, oh my God, we could be invaded tomorrow.
They could just nuke me. What am I gonna do about it? I'm on the southernmost island of Japan. Am I gonna swim anywhere? Like what the? Like we're not getting on a boat fast enough. I'm a fucking PFC. Like what the? I'm not first one to be evacuated. Like
yeah, like I don't know. They fucking.
We don't have any missile defense systems on fucking Okinawa. Like
yeah,
and even we did the fallout. Like it's gonna. If they catch it at 10 minutes, it's just gonna fall on the island anyways. So like, whatever. I don't know. That shit was funny. We were talking also about how we are the most trash internet people. That we suck at the internet.
Yeah.
You thought I said full stop? I just meant I said we both stop, and then this is how we got on this tangent. And I just thought that was really funny because I was like, we both stopped to figure out something, and you're like, full stop? I didn't even know what that fucking meant. You want to know what else I didn't know what it meant? And then what were you talking about?
Dude, it took me a long time.
With it. I just let you run with this too, because I was just like, I didn't say full stop, but let's go, typo. Like, come on.
Oh, I thought you were. I was just before we fucking started. I was looking at TikTok, and the people and the fucking kids on there are like, full stop, no cap, gaslighting, and I'm like, dude, it took me forever to figure out what gaslighting was. I saw Ted Cruz use it, and I was like, I really need to fucking Google this.
Dude,
but I just like keep up, dude.
Gaslighting's for like, that's like old. It's like old.
That's old?
Yeah.
I've never heard it. I've never heard it until recently. Like, I don't know why, but it's been used more now. Or I wasn't paying attention.
I think I guess. I don't know. What I was gonna say, I think we talked about it on the show one time, but it wasn't the word gaslighting. It was remember when I was bitching about libertarians and how they how libertarians argue, and I hate certain words that we use to argue. Do you remember that episode? No,
I do not.
I don't even remember the word. Now, obviously, it bothers me so much. I don't even remember the fucking word that I was talking about, but it basically means the same as gaslighting.
Yeah.
Or you can't gaslight my fucking argument. You know, you can't. You're pumping it full of bullshit that I didn't even say, and it's like, yeah. But that's really funny that you didn't know what. But we are trash as internet personalities. Internet anything. Like I am so fucking garbage. I don't care about any of the shit. Like there's people that there's kind of like circles, you know, on Twitter, especially on our Twitter.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
There's definitely circles of these people. And even on Instagram, we're not really in the Instagram circles either. You know, have you realized that? You know, like we got people that follow us. Like we got our buddies that like we kind of run simultaneously with the e-militia, but we're not part of e-militia's circle. You know, e-militia has their circle and a couple pages outside of it that they all are kind of interact with. And then, but that's the closest to being in a circle we are, just because we know e-militia and Spirit of Resistance. But we kind of have I don't even say we have our own circle. It's literally just you and me on a meme page. Like that's literally it. And then when it comes to Twitter, it's like, yeah, we kind of run with TLE. Like I think a lot of our followers are a lot of crossover followers with TLE, which is awesome. Fucking love the TLE guys. They're and it's a great show. I love that show. And then we kind of get, but I think we run parallel with like the Tower Gang people, but it's not the same people that like us. Like it's not the same people.
Yeah.
And I like Tower Gang too. I mean, obviously we're just on their show, but I like them too. But we're not in that. But we're not in TLE circle. Like people aren't going to us like, oh, you guys should go on TLE. Like they're not coming to us for that. And I don't blame them. We're kind of not the same speed, but I would go on there in a heartbeat if they asked us. But
For
like
sure.
I get it. Like we're just not the same speed as that. And we're still not even really the same speed as the Tower Gang guys either.
Yeah.
We're kind of like this weird gray area.
Like
of
we
bullshit.
were in like the original Tower Gang, and we were kind of part of that. But that's as far as like our relationship went with them. Like it's not like literally I was like, oh, this looks funny. I want in the group, and I wouldn't talk in the group chat. I wouldn't fucking.
No, I
was
just jump on when they told me
I'd be
we were
like,
towering.
tag
somebody.
me when you need a letter. Tag me when you need a letter. I'm there. That's all I'm gonna fucking do. Like this is all I'm here for. Like I'm not here for combo. I don't got time to be having combos and all these.
That's the other thing. They're all in group chats. They're all in group chats with like people and shit like that. And they talk to their group chats all the time, like with their boys. And like, dude,
we're
I don't
on
even
like 20.
I know, and we don't talk in any of them. I haven't spoken in one of those group chats in probably since like the first 2 weeks that I got added into them.
And I feel
it's not that I don't. It's not. I know, me too. It's not that I don't like the people. It's just like I'm not on my phone like that. Like I'm on my phone a lot, but I'm not on my phone to sit there and talk to people. I'm on my phone to like literally talk shit on Twitter, post funny ass memes on Instagram, or zone out on fucking TikTok for an hour when I'm waiting for jobs to get put on my calendar at work. Like I'm not on my phone like that to sit there and message people. And they talk so much. So
dude,
if you're out of
we
the
barely
conversation-
message each other,
dude. I text you the day we're doing the podcast, like, hey, we still recording today? Or if I get a weird ass email in our fucking emails, which I still need to make that fucking promo. But that weird ass email, or like I get a weird ass email, and I send it to you because you're like have all your information's on the money side of things. So like when it comes to the money, I'm like, hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see this? And I check the email like once a week, if that. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about the email.
So like I don't run in basically groups. We don't keep up with the internet.
Yeah, we don't keep up with honestly, we don't keep up with people in general. Like we just don't keep up with people. Like today I didn't feel like listening to anything. I didn't listen to music today. I didn't listen to a podcast today. I didn't listen.
In silence, motherfucker.
I sat in silence and drove around in my truck, just in my own head.
Thoughts.
Yeah, just in my own head, just fucking driving around, fucking la-di-da, just fucking chilling, silence. Because I was like, because at some point there's just a lot of fucking noise. But I'll get to that later. But it was just more like I think it's super weird because I didn't really realize that until you said that right there. And I was like, dude it's hard. We're not like in a group.
When there's
an
drama
area of people.
When there's drama on Twitter, like I figure it out eventually, or maybe someone will tell me. But generally, I don't know who's on whose side. I don't know who hates who. I don't know if these people are shit talking or if this is a joke, because like we shit talk like the Seaburn guys all the time. And I love them.
And half the shit that I say to them, people would jump on and like shit on
talk
me.
Shit to us or
talk shit to us because they think we're talking shit to them. And it's like, dude, this is like our thing. Like we just sit here and fucking banter back and forth about whose podcast is shittier. Yeah. When it's very clear it's theirs.
They don't even know, like they try to come on our podcast and use like 4 different other applications that didn't work, and we never rescheduled because we proved we were superior.
Yeah.
And now we're holding off. Like we'll get back to that that podcast when we feel like it.
The Seaburn podcast. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's super weird how we're like parallel to a lot of these groups, and I think we kind of get suckered into the Mises thing too. And I'm not we talked about it for a long time, and I think it might be the best way forward if we're using the Libertarian Party.
For sure.
The one place I don't think we get brought into a lot is like the Tho Bishop world. Like I don't think we get brought into that at all. Like the conservative, the paleo conservative. I don't know. I think
is that what it
a lot
is?
of
Paleo libertarian? Is that what they're called?
I don't know. I don't know. That's the other thing. I don't even know what these fucking people are. I don't know what these fucking people are.
I don't know, dude.
And I don't really care about like a lot of the arguments that are being made right now under the libertarian tent. Like, I don't care.
I don't give two fucks about the border. I'm being honest.
No, I literally don't give a shit. I don't care. Open it, close it. I don't fucking care at this point.
Fucking who cares?
I just literally
let China
don't give a
in.
shit.
Open the gates and let China in.
Yeah, let's
like fuck it.
Like, I guess we're accelerationists. Like, I don't know. Like, let's get shit
I don't
started
know.
because
I don't know
because
dude.
the way I don't even know if I'm an accelerationist because I kind of like being able to watch Netflix. Like, you know, I think accelerationism. I won't get to watch Netflix for a while until we figure that shit out. You know, that's kind of upsetting to me. I like Netflix. I like movies. And
shit goes bad, you know. I ain't
at
ready
the same
for that,
time, I don't want this shit to keep going. So let's fucking get shit going. Let's get it to pop off because I'd rather do it while I'm young than while I'm old.
Yeah. Well, like, I don't know. I think I don't know. There's people that take social media very seriously. Yeah. Like they build a personality. They fucking create this image for themselves, I think. And anyone that bashes that, they're hurt by it.
Yeah.
They're bothered by it. And maybe it's better. I don't know. Maybe you blocking people or, you know, arguing with people, maybe that's good for your audience and building an audience. Maybe it is. I'm not trying to tell. I have 3,000 followers. I'm nowhere impressive of like a social media stud. Like, I'm not fucking telling you how to run your account.
But I also don't care.
But I don't care. I don't care. Like, if I call you a bitch, it could be I'm insulting you. But also I'm just fucking around, dude.
Yeah.
And either way, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, like for real. Dude, that's what I like, right? I feel like I'm not trying to say we're different and better. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're better. I'm saying we're different. We're different
very different
because I literally don't care. Like, you could make a really funny, crude joke about me, my mom's, or Typo and his parents or something like that, or like his girlfriend or something like that if he had a girlfriend or something like that, and I could like it, and I'd text over to Typo like, did you see this? And it could be taken like seriously or as a joke. You know, there's like two ways to take it. Either this person's making a funny hyperbole about me and my life, or they're speaking seriously about my life. And either way, I'll probably laugh at it. Because first, the hyperbole is clearly hyperbole and they're trying to make something out of nothing. So that's funny. Or second, I know this person, or I get that they're making a joke and it's fucking funny objectively. It's funny. Yeah. And then but people take that shit seriously. You get called a fed in some circles and you just get blocked. You just get blocked because you called somebody a fed. And it's like, dude, I'm on our Twitter page. Like, yeah, we're feds. Like, that's our whole shtick. Yeah. We're fucking feds.
I was at the Capitol. I incited.
Yeah,
I incited it.
The FBI paid me for it.
Yes, I was paid by the FBI.
Yeah, like
how much money to incite it? This goes against everything my principles.
They're like $30.
Deal. I'm in, dude. Wait, how many sets? 4? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool. Dude, but that's the thing. Like, I don't care about their shit. And it's really funny to watch people get super butthurt. And, you know, I'm not saying that people that block people are super butthurt. I don't really think that's true.
Maybe you're building your audience your way. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that works better for you. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's just like the blocking thing. Like, there's very few. I think there's a couple people that I've blocked, and like one is Nick Sarwalk, just because I was tired of seeing him. Like, I finally blocked him. I was like, whatever, tired of seeing him. But there's like very few people that I've blocked. I've muted that weird Israeli fucking army chick that's like libertarian that used to fucking comment on all of my posts. Because
probably
she was
listens
like
to the podcast.
Yeah, I think she does listen to the podcast. She's fucking weird. I'd never see anything from her anymore, but I didn't block her because, hey, go on and with your bad self. I'm pretty sure she still shares the podcast. So whatever. I'm not going to block you. I don't really give a shit. I just don't want to respond to you. And I'm tired of seeing your shit on my shit. But, if you block, like, that's fine. I'm not saying that you're butthurt if you block people. I get it. But when you get butthurt, you're arguing back and forth, and then both people get butthurt, and then one blocks the other one. It's like, all right, like, fuck, dude, this is exhaustingly boring. And I don't know why you're butthurt on some random fucking person on Twitter. It's like, dude, if these people are talking shit to you about libertarianism, show up to a libertarian event they're at. They're not going to do shit. Most of these people are fucking neck-bearded weirdos, and that goes for the women as well. They're neck-bearded weirdos. Like, I don't understand. No. And I also think that's why we're bad. I think that's why we're bad internet people. It's because, like, internet is drama. And it's supposed to be drama. And like, when you're a personality, it's supposed to be drama. And we've kind of like avoided all the drama. Like
let's make up a fight between me and you.
What are we
just on Twitter? I don't know. It's on Twitter. I don't know, dude. It'd just be really funny if people are like, oh my God, Luke and Typo are fighting on Twitter.
They're beefing, full stop.
I know, dude. I don't know what it is, dude. Like, people. So, and then, this is what the weirdest is. I can kind of understand people beefing. Like, I'm not really on Twitter. I'm not about it. I think it's kind of dumb. I think it's like a massive group text, and it's just like, bro, if you were in a group chat with your boys, and they just start talking shit in the group chat, like, what are we doing right now? Well,
and then you leave the chat because you're upset because you talk too much shit.
Yes.
Everybody's like, dude, you're a bitch. Like, you're a bitch. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, you're a bitch. Like, you were being a bitch.
What's going on right now?
And then a week later, they're like, hey, can you put me back in the group chat? And it's like, all right, you fucking faggot. Yeah, like, get back in the group chat. But if you do it again, we're not gonna let you back in. You're gonna have to fucking do something for it.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, dude. Like, I just think that there's just, I don't know why. Maybe I'm not captivated in the internet culture as much as others, so I'm not so worried about what my image looks like. I mean, my I don't care.
I mean,
like,
look at your hair.
Typo. I have fucking Jew hair, and my profile picture is me, my face plastered on a paraplegic that works for Walmart. Like, I just it doesn't fucking bother me. Like, I don't take this shit seriously.
Dude, those memes were the best. You're the Walmart. You're our Twitter Walmart greeter. Dude, that was the best joke. That was one of the best jokes. We should, you know what? We should, like, at a certain point this episode, we should like get in an argument with each other. And then
what are we gonna fight about?
I don't know. All right, we'll brainstorm it. But this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get in an argument with each other, and then we're gonna clip it. Right? We're gonna clip it, and I'm gonna be like, we're gonna clip two parts of it. So like, we're gonna clip a part of it like where you're being like fucked up to me, no context, and then we're gonna clip another part of me being fucked up to you with no context, and we're gonna start a Twitter beef, and then we'll post it. Oh, from this point,
we should go live.
From this point from the podcast is where the beef started, and we should just share it. Maybe we create a burner and somebody posts it, right? And then, you know, like, this is where the beef...
no one's gonna we're so uninteresting. No one's gonna be like biting the bullets.
They're not gonna go listen to the whole episode. They're just gonna go, because you know how you can share like the clip the timestamp on YouTube. So when you click the link and it takes you to the timestamp, so you don't listen to the whole part before that.
Yeah.
So it just takes them to that point. They're not going to hear all this. This. And then, you know, whenever we decide to do it, that's where we share it from, or we just,
I think it'd be
and then
better idea.
Let it like build up.
Better idea. Oh, I don't even know. This is such a good idea. I don't know if I want to spill it to the audience, because we might actually do it.
Okay.
Better idea is we connect with like another podcast, and we'll be like, let's start a fake beef. Talk shit on Twitter. Instagram.
Maybe we do it with. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll figure out who to do it with.
I was thinking we could do is like Seaburn.
That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to like give it out.
Oh,
but oh well. But oh well. No,
our audience
dude.
will
Who
know?
cares? Because everybody else on Twitter that doesn't listen to us, that is in this liberty sphere, we could, if we blow it up enough, like we could fuck with a lot of people. We could fuck with a lot of people.
Because especially on Twitter. Like Twitter is its own little thing. Like I don't know. I mean,
like
I don't pay attention that much on Instagram. I don't know if there's beefs. What's up with you and always wanting to dox people, dude?
Well, I mean, everybody has such a big deal with it, so you know. No, what is
true?
I don't. Maybe all right. Maybe not dox, because people take that a little too seriously, and then they go and dox you after doxing somebody, which is the wildest fucking thing in the world. I mean, I understand to a point, but at the same time, it's like, all right, you're both bitches now. Like,
if I get doxed, I need friends. So
so please come to my house.
Come show up, guys. Oh, what's up, dude? I heard what you said on your podcast. Dude, you listen to the podcast,
bro? Did we just become best friends? No, I'm here to beat your ass. We just became best friends. Do you want the top bunk or the bottom?
You know how honored I'd be where someone is so angry they have to show up to somewhere I'm at, that they're mad because of something I said on my bot. Dude, I would be like, oh my God, dude, I made it, bro. Mom, I made it.
We should fake dox people, like big people in the Libertarian Party.
Someone fake dox Jared. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
They put like Jared, I forgot what the name they put, but it was Jared something completely made up. And then a completely fake address, and someone's like, did you just really dox Jared? It was so funny because, well, but, obviously we know like, who Jared is.
Well, it would be really funny if we, like we get the big people. So like Martha, because she's in it right now, fucking Dave Smith, just pick a fucking address on there. And then be like, and just start tweeting them out and see what happens. Like,
yeah, I think
no
Nick
context
Sarwark actually got doxed.
Oh, really?
This was a while
ago. We could do Sarwark. We can do Matt Walsh. Talk about him. We can do like a couple people, but just tweet it out. We'll tweet it out from the Biting the Bullet page.
Jesus Christ!
Like, why not?
I might
like,
get
why? Oh no, they block us for sending fake addresses.
Oh no! I mean, sorry, not blocked. I mean, like that might get us kicked off Twitter.
Oh well.
I think doxing's a bannable offense. I think.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I said we got to do something though, because honestly, I just want to.
It seems drama.
I want to watch the world burn.
That's what I was gonna say earlier. So there's this weird group of people in Twitter too, that they're not really beefing with anyone. They're not fighting. They're not the ones that did anything. They're not the ones that are victim of anything, but they insert themselves into the argument.
Yeah.
And that's the like weirdest shit to me too.
That I was fucking with the other day.
Well, just me. No.
He was like, "Are you a real Marine or a pogue?" And I was like, "How long do you think it's gonna take me to? How long do you think it's gonna take for him to tell me about his car?" And he was like, I don't need to. I don't even have a car. I would never fib about being a combat vet, or I never lie about being a combat vet. I was a Navy corpsman that gave this, that, or the other to Marines to keep them battle ready. And I was like, all right, bro, like, so now you're gatekeeping a thing you're not even a part of. First off, are you a real Marine or a pogue? And I was like, you're gatekeeping something you're not even fucking a part of. And second, you were a fucking corpsman. Shout outs to all the fucking corpsmen out there that like actually did some shit to save people's lives, regardless of if they were Iraqi or Marine.
Yeah, we forgive you for your faggotry.
Yeah, and your cross-dressing abilities. But not only are you gatekeeping that, you are arguing about libertarianism and using the military as your like, oh, you're not a real man. And it's like, I don't know if using the military to argue how libertarian you are, I don't know how that's gonna work out, buddy. Like, he was arguing like, oh, I actually are you
so this
a
guy was a
real Marine?
libertarian.
Oh yeah. He's a libertarian that was arguing. He was calling the Tower Gang guys like faggots or something like that. And so I shared him, and I was like, all I said was, I'm gonna tell my kids this was Tower King Cole, because he looked like fucking Cole from Tower Gang, but with a goatee and fat.
I saw that tweet, actually.
So
I didn't know that was actually a beef, because I don't take it seriously.
It wasn't, but he got all offended by me calling, and he called me a simp, and I was like, I don't know how that's simping. That was just kind of fun. Like, that was just a joke. But he had been calling people simps because they were arguing with Martha and this, that, or the other. And so then I just went and shitted on him about the military. I don't know who he is.
Who's Martha?
Martha's the fucking Latino chick down in Florida that freaked out with Top Lobster.
I saw a few of those.
That was actually really fucking funny.
Yeah.
Top Lobster was like, you're the only, because she wants to reach out to more of the Latino fucking crowd in Florida, and she wasn't, I don't know, greeted the proper way that she felt that she deserved to be in the Florida LP convention. It's like, okay. And she was like, she basically said she's the only Latin person there, or Latin American person there at the LP
in Florida
convention. Yeah, in Florida, which is entirely untrue. And then Top Lobster was like, no, you're not the only one there. You're the only one that has to scream it from the rooftops when you walk in. Like, that was kind of like the whole point. And then it went off, and she's like, this is the type of toxicity that I'm talking, and this is why I'm leaving the LP. And it's like, dude, when people say shit like that, there's a lot of us that are like, fucking good, because then you weren't part of the LP. I'm not even saying that you weren't part of the LP, because this is just a clear, constant, continuous part of the LP, is people saying, this is why I'm leaving the LP. I don't care if you leave the LP or not. I really don't fucking care. But you virtue signaling that you're leaving the LP and you're going to take your followers with you. Like, don't let the door hit you, bitch. Like, nobody gives a fuck.
Like, I don't understand. Like, my framework is, I don't take Twitter very seriously. Yeah. I follow it for like news and shit, because it's actually pretty rapid. Like, you'll find something that happened a lot faster than you'll find it when like the TV starts talking about it or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or people talk about it on their podcast or whatever. So when people get butthurt on Twitter, I'm like, dude, if the Libertarian Party is going to become something that is an actual threat, like that's the goal, right? Like that, you want to become something that's a threat to the establishment.
Absolutely.
If you can't take someone talking shit to you on Twitter, what are you going to do when Jim Acosta says something about you on CNN? Because it's gonna be rough.
There's a lot of your followers that think you're an OnlyFans girl. What do you have to say about that?
It's going to be rough. Like, they're going to slander you so bad that people might show up and be violent toward you.
Yeah. And these people don't get it. Like, I swear to God, these people don't get it.
Like, this is the thing. Like, you need to understand, like, you're going after the CIA. Let's just...
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like,
what is the CIA gonna do to stop you from being a threat? What'd they do to a president? Like, fuck, man.
Dude, that's what I think that's why we were drawn to like the Mises Caucus when we first heard it, because we heard Dave Smith say, I know it was something big that we talked about all the time. It was like, oh, you guys are he would talk to the loser brigade. He's like, oh, you guys are at war. We're at fucking war. You're mad about a bunch of fucking words when you're gonna go up against the literal CIA and the FBI. Like, that's the fucking war, man. That's what the war is. And you're getting upset about words I fucking use. Like, go fuck yourself, go dig a hole, go dig a fucking hole, Some of you, it's going to have to be deeper because you guys are thick fucking bodies. Go dig a fucking hole as deep as you can, crawl into it, and then have one of your dumbass friends bury you, and then just keep going down the line because you have no place here. Like in my opinion, like the LP, it doesn't have to be militant, but it has to be like almost, it has to be incredibly, it has to be incredibly strong.
You have to be thick skinned.
Yeah, because you're literally going to get the shit end of the stick on everything. So you have to be accustomed to constantly losing and getting belittled and talked down to and treated like you're nothing, which is why I think you and I were brought into this, because we were fucking masochistic, dumbass bitches that joined the fucking Marine Corps. And we're like, oh, I'm used to this. I can do this all day. Like you can shit on my life as much as you want to. I'm going to laugh because it's hilarious.
You see these,
my life does suck.
To us, it was like, dude, we're watching like internet losers that talk like you're being called a racist on the internet. Who fucking cares?
I was like, well,
like,
you talk about it all the time. It's like, what era did y'all grow up in that you are butthurt about the way people talk to you? Like, holy fuck. You must have not played any fucking video games. Never played in any sports whatsoever. I mean, the amount of times that I got called a fucking bitch or
my God.
You know,
by the players you were playing against and your coach
and your own team. Like, it didn't fucking matter. You would talk shit. Like, I grew up in an era of talking shit. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I don't understand how these other people in my fucking age group, like our age group, like I don't understand how they can react like this. And they're like, oh, but it should be better. It should be better, Jake. It should be better. And it's like, bro, you dumb cunt.
Say things like that.
Shut the fuck up.
Because
you're about to get smacked the fuck up. This is an equal opportunity culture now. You can catch left fists and right fists. Nobody gives a fuck. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what happened from the 90s to the 2000s. 90s was
public
definitely
schools, dude.
90s was definitely a smack your ass up culture. Like, you could still get in street fights and the cops would just break it up and you could go home. You know what I mean? You could still do that. 2000s, like in my high school, you could get in street fights, but if you got caught, you could get in trouble. But a lot of people didn't call the cops. Towards the end of the 2010s, like that's non-existent. Like, we didn't get in street fights in bars or anything like that because we knew there was something separate that happened where it was like, no, you get in a street fight, you're getting charged with, you know, a fucking assault. You're getting charged with assault.
Yeah.
No matter what, matter. And so like it like all changed. Like, you couldn't smack somebody the fuck up for talking a little too much. And I think that's honestly the problem. People are allowed to talk so much without any repercussion. And so people try to use words to combat them. And then they're not as smart with their fucking words. And so they're like, you're racist. You're a misogynist. And then they pinch their nipples and go on their way and fucking yippee-ki-yay into a rainbow.
Yeah, because this woke culture, like, everyone kind of understands, like, they're not serious. They're just using this. They're using this shit as a way to disregard your convictions, your principles, your what you're saying. That like if you can't handle words on a group chat, like what do you think is gonna happen when they're like this is the thing too, is like we kind of grew like this little like boogaloo mentality with our podcast a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, or I mean, it's not that we're not advocating for political violence, but it's not that we're like,
but we're ready for it.
But like, yes, you want to be ready, or at least have the mindset that political violence is very possible in this day and age. Yeah. It's a very real thing.
Yeah.
And like that's like the mentality that was kind of in the military as well. Is like, who cares what the fuck someone says to you? This is a life or death situation. And it's like, when we like left the military, it wasn't like I don't know, like we came into this world where like the biggest the best shit talkers in my life have always been my friends.
Yeah.
They're better at talking shit, getting under my skin than anyone I know. And when that, like, I don't know, maybe it is like our culture, maybe it's just how our friendship is, maybe it's not healthy. I'm not saying it's healthy. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But like, my friends are better at getting under my skin and know what pushes my buttons. But I know it's all in good fun. At the end of the day, it's all in good fun. And they're trying, that's the one thing that I love about my friends is they're trying to force a reaction out of me. They're trying, they don't even care what they're saying, if it actually hurts my feelings, whatever bullshit. They're trying to force a reaction out of me because that's when you know you won. That's how you know.
And that's why like Twitter kind of sucks. That's why Twitter kind of sucks, because you can force a react. Like, I feel like I force reactions very quickly. I get what that satisfaction, you know, because it takes some time to get it. It takes some time to get under your friend's skin. It takes especially our friend group. It takes a while. Like, it's a beautifully orchestrated roast. You know what I mean?
You know what we do the most?
You got the sports section going. Dude, but there's one friend that we have that it's easy to get under his skin about sports teams.
Baby. And we know.
And we know,
baby.
And it's so great. And I'll just text him and I'll piss him off. Like, I'll just text him one quick thing in the middle of the week. Like, I haven't texted him this week, but I'm going to text him this week and be like, how about them boys? And he's going to be like, dude, shut the fuck up. I don't want to talk to you, or some shit like that. There's something about like finally getting under your friend's skin, because all of us are, you know, we're pretty fucking thick skinned. Like, at this point, you don't want to show their reaction.
You show emotion, you lose, buddy.
Well, yeah,
you lose.
So when you're working on it, you know, and you got either by yourself, it's just one-on-one, or it's like your boy and you and the guy that you're trying to get under their skin, because it's usually because they did something that was like, you could tell they're off that day. They like reacted a certain way to something that you were like, oh, he's being a bitch today. Let's go. Like, it's time to fucking get down. Like, we're gonna make this bitch cry today, you know, because we're not, he needs to stop showing this type of emotion, not because showing emotion is bad. It's because this showing of emotion is bad.
Because specifically what they're mad about is annoying.
So it's like and usually it's like either talk about what you're actually upset by, or shut the fuck up. Don't just lash out. That's usually what it is. It's usually, all right, you're not going to talk about what you're actually upset by. So you're just going to lash out about stupid shit. So we're going to fucking either press you. Yeah. we're going to fucking press you until you actually talk about what you're upset by, or until you leave the room. So you stop acting like a little bitch about little things. And so it's like
toxic as fuck.
It's beautifully orchestrated though. So it takes a while because everybody's so goddamn hard-headed that it takes a while. And so it's like, you know, you got you're conducting an orchestra when you're getting under your buddy's skin. You're hitting the horns at the right time. You're saying the violinist or the string section to do what they need to do. You're bringing it up real loud and aggressive when the drums need to be. And then you silence it all out and let the trumpets do their fucking their solo. And then you bring it all together, and that's when you hit. But on fucking Twitter, you throw one fucking "you're a cunt" joke out there, and the whole goddamn place loses their mind, and it's kind of annoying. And it's like, well, I don't want to play with you anymore. This is stupid, because it's like, that was too easy. It wasn't fun.
They could say something. They could say something that straight up but people can like it's not that hard to embarrass me. Like, if you fucking listen to our podcast, I've admitted a bunch of dumb shit that I've done in my life. I fucking have said what I like, the things that fucking the most embarrassing parts of my life I've said on this podcast.
Yeah.
And someone could say something on Twitter that would be like, oh, you son of a bitch. But it would be, if it was funny, I'm like, damn, that's good. That's good. Because like I don't know what it is, but I can like laugh at myself. But like, if someone is disregarding like something I'm saying with personal attacks, I know I've kind of won.
Yeah.
Because when you're arguing with your friends, like we talk about this all the time. We've argued in our backyard about like dumb shit and shit we didn't even really know about, but we're just arguing, you know, it's fun. I love it. And we're arguing, and then you've like kind of beat your friend intellectually when they're like, yeah, but you're short as fuck. Like, no, all right. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're trying to move the conversation.
You gaslighting me right now? You gaslighting me right now, Typo?
Yeah, dude.
You're a
It's
real
like, okay,
5'11" ass bitch there,
Yeah.
Typo.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, dude. Yeah, well, you have 2 moms, so fuck you. I'm like, so like,
And it's like,
it's
like, okay.
It's like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I know what just happened here.
Yeah.
And most
It's
people
like,
know. But like,
Yeah.
if you can be funny, if you can transition into like clowning your friend because you lost an argument, you're a master.
Yeah. Especially if you can the real mastery, and we've all done this at times, especially you, me, and Nick. We've all done this at times where all the jokes are hitting you, and you're just like, damn, dude, I can't get out of this. And then you find that one thing in somebody else. And like, so it's like 2-on-1, especially in our group. It's usually like a 2-on-1 situation.
We'll just say it's a group
rusted.
of guys.
Yeah.
If you're the pinch point where everyone's clowning on you, you got to
Yeah.
find a way out. You got to find a way out, dude.
So then like they hit you with one thing and you deflect it. You deflect that one. You're like, bing, and it hits your boy. And you're like, you're talking about this like me, but we ain't talking about this bitch that did all this shit. And then everybody's like, bing. It's like, bing, bong. We're going to this motherfucker.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Joe fucking Biden? And
Yeah.
then you just go
but,
after him.
Yeah, dude. It would be like when like everyone, like, I don't want to say their names exactly, but we would have like our friend group in Okinawa where like if the one person starts laughing too hard and you're like, what the fuck you laughing at?
Yeah.
Hector.
Yeah, dude. And he was always the one too. It was always
yeah.
fucking Hector, man. Hector would laugh a little too hard at a joke. He would laugh a little too hard at a joke, and everybody would be like, not you, motherfucker.
No,
you can laugh,
you're not.
But you're not laughing that hard.
You can't
But
be the
he'd always-
loudest one laughing.
Yeah, you can't be the loudest. And then he'd always make some stupid joke about the person, and everybody be like, oh, it's your turn, baby. Open them shit.
Yeah,
that was a stupid ass joke. It's your turn.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. I that's why my whole, like, when people get so butthurt on Twitter, like, I kind of love, if I got a bunch of like hate messages under my fucking social media, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's
like, I'm
the best.
I'm excited that people are like butthurt, especially when something I'm like, I'm not even going to say that like we're right about everything, even though we are. I'm not even saying I'm right about everything, but just because if I said something that I passionately believe in and I fucking get under their skin where they're so mad, we're like, how dare you say that? How could you say that that people in the military are just trained to kill children and instinct and that's all they do? And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, and then I get a bunch of these people that want to like dox you and shit. I'm like, okay, dude, like,
please, I need friends.
Who's gonna show, like, who is actually gonna show up here and be a threat?
Yeah,
like maybe it's also because we're so small and tiny of a podcast that we're not scared. Like a mob shows up, it's like, damn, dude,
a mob shows up around here. I'm not the only one gonna be blasting, bro. Like, I'm in the ghetto, dude. Like, they're not just gonna let a whole bunch of people mob outside of these apartments.
No.
And it's not because they're gated. These apartments ain't gated, but the people that live around me, they're not just gonna like having a whole bunch of fucking people, especially because the people that is gonna be some white liberal ass 8x5x11s. So it's like, they're gonna be like, nah, bro, like, you can't stay here. Like, I'm not even going to act like I know who they are. They can say my name all they want. And I'm going to be like, the fucking Tyrone and Miguel, they'll handle it. Like, you know, like they're not going to do anything here. These people aren't going to, they're not going to do anything here. And, you know, like, it's just stupid. And honestly, I mean,
and that's
like
what's
one of the one of my best this last week, one of my favorite times this week on Twitter was when I told this one of the ladies that was shitting on, or she was talking shit to Top Lobster, and I was like, breaking white liberal woman tells or explains multiculturalism to Puerto Rican male or something like that, and she got all upset. She started talking about voting, this, that, or the other, and she kept saying how, yeah, because that's what it whole Martha's fucking shtick was, and that's what it was all off of, was Martha's shtick about voting and getting the Hispanic vote and women vote and stuff like that. And she was like, women vote, and I was like, yeah, and that's the problem with the 19th Amendment. and then
like people, we want to get a little serious. I'm not saying that it's bad that we gave you equal rights to women voting, but is more people voting really good for society?
Yeah, in any situation.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like, but that's what I was saying. Like I was like, I don't give a shit about anybody voting, and I said that to her multiple times, and she's like, but women vote, and she was saying,
unfortunately,
yeah, she was saying it in the sense that they could be deal breakers in the vote, and I was like, well, yeah, well, I guess because the way she was saying it was like they're the ones that women vote. Like, we really need the women vote on the libertarian sphere. You guys are making a mistake saying that it's good Martha's getting out of here, kind of thing. And I was like, well, if women vote, then I guess I have them to blame for fucking Bush Senior, Clinton, fucking Bush, Obama,
we can bring the white women, dude,
Trump, and goddamn Biden. And she was like, that's not what I'm saying. And I was like, and then I don't know, she said something about something being like, if it was just non-existent, it wouldn't or no, it was about the frat boys, because they kept calling the Mises frat or something like that. And I was like, I just disregard your statement after you say frat. And she was like, it's kind of how you're just mad because it's not funny, it's true. And I was like, kind of like the 19th Amendment or something like that. And then she got real butthurt. And then some people picked up on that. And that was good, because I got another zinger in there. I got her with the 19th Amendment twice. It's the joke. It's, you want to hear something funny? And they're like, what? And it's like women's rights. And it's like, ha, ha, ha. It's funny. But it's not like a really funny joke. It's just like, I'm getting under your nerves, because if you don't think it's funny, because it's such a stupid, it's funny because it's a stupid joke, not because it's making fun of women's rights. Are we trolls? It's funny. Yes. Yeah. Well, I think we're worse than trolls, because I don't even feed off the same shit that these trolls do.
We're worse than trolls because we're not good trolls.
Yeah. I can see that.
Like I'm not, like, I don't know. I'll throw everything. If I'm going after a libertarian, I'm talking about roads.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about roads.
And I'm going to do it for a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm going
to bring up Lou Rockwell. Who has wrote extensively on roads. I'm gonna be like, racist.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to do one better. I'm going to use our word of the day and gaslight it. And I'm going to say,
I'm learning.
You hate roads. How dare you? How are people supposed to, it's just so easy. It's so easy to piss off the libertarian base. It's so easy to piss off the Republican base. It's so easy to piss off the Democratic base. When I first got into this, I'll finish this thought and then you go. But like, when I first got into this, I was like, damn, libertarians actually have a thick skin. And that's because the libertarians that we found at the time were, Dave Smith, who has a pretty thick skin. He catches a lot of hate. Pretty thick skin. And then fucking Carr and goddamn Bird and Aaron from TLE, who were like the people that we talked to the most in the Libertarian Party.
They don't take it serious.
They don't take it seriously at all. So they were all about like our stupid ass jokes. They were all about our stupid ass jokes. And maybe not all of them, but like they gave us love when love was due. And they thought that shit was funny. And I appreciated them for it. And because like they were all about like, just be stupid. Just fucking take this as a joke.
And people think, like, don't get me wrong, Jared can be like a savage on Twitter. You can be a fucking savage and say the worst thing ever. But like, let me just explain something a little bit about the Marine Corps. Jared's not the most savage person.
No.
Like
Oh, not
Jared
even
wasn't even close to the most savage person.
I was probably one of the most savage people in our group in the Marine Corps.
But I'm saying that there's people that are worse than
Nick was savage.
Yes. Like what men in an apex, a majorly apex society, the Marine Corps, or I'm sure it's maybe similar in like other parts of the military as well, but we only know the Marine Corps, which is like the only reason you join the Marine Corps is if you're completely fucking lost and if you need to prove yourself as a man.
Yeah.
So the Marine Corps is like perfect for that. So it's everyone in the Marine Corps. When you know 100% that your life will be much shittier in this branch. It's not something that's hidden. It's not something that's that like everyone assumes in this society that if you join the Marine Corps, it's hard as fuck. And don't get me wrong, on your mental capability, it can be. Even if you're a bitch that joins.
Yeah, it can be taxing.
Even if it can be. Even if you're the man of men and you join. When you realize the retardation that happens in the Marine Corps.
And there's always a bigger man. That's one thing you realize in the Marine Corps. There's always a bigger man. It may not be physically bigger, but rank plays a factor in IQ apparently, or it adds IQ points where you just look stupid for no goddamn reason.
This is what puts you to test the most in the Marine Corps, is that you realize that the retards get promoted and you have a retard in charge of you. You have a straight retard that's in charge of you in the Marine Corps. And you have to mentally prepare yourself every day to go to work and take orders from someone that could possibly send you into fucking battle from a retard. And you understand
from somebody that looks like the Walmart greeter profile picture that Typo has.
You understand that this person is actually mentally incapable, and the Marine Corps only hired him or promoted him is because he's so obedient. Not because he can think outside the box, because he's a retard and can follow orders. And you realize that in the Marine Corps. And when you can grasp mentally that the Marine Corps only promotes obedient retards, you get to this stage in life where you can take anything. Anything.
I was just gonna say, like, why do you think there's so many fucking disabled vets that work as Walmart greeters?
Yeah, we're homeless. You know why it's so common for people in the military to be homeless? Like, it's a normal, like, it's kind of like
because they would have been homeless without the Marine Corps, but they just served long enough.
No, maybe, but it's also because they'd rather be homeless than live in this fucked up society where they obey retards.
Yeah.
They'd rather just be high all the time, not fucking worry about anything, live in the fucking streets, than be part of a society where they praise these fucking retards in the military and promote them. And then you have to literally go to war for someone that doesn't know their fucking job.
I mean, that's like, honestly, I've said this multiple times on the podcast. The reason why I didn't re-enlist, and I had a re-enlistment to if I got my reenlistment, I would have gone to Iraq. Like, that was part of my enlistment. You remember that time period? And then there was deal. Yeah, that was the deal. And it was supposed to be an extension, and then they didn't give me the extension. And they said you had to re-enlist. And I sat there and thought about it, because at the time it was like, do I still, like, because you still kind of felt like a bitch. Like, I wasn't at the point yet where I was like, I'm glad I didn't go to combat. Like, now I'm at that point. I'm glad I didn't have to ever deal with that. I'm glad I'm not fucking, like, it sounds bad. I love Jared, but I'm glad I'm not Jared. He has to deal with shit that I will never have to deal with. I'm glad I'm not Steven, our boy. Yeah, they both have to deal with shit that I never have to deal with. And I make fun of them 100%. For it every goddamn day.
Because it gets under the skin.
Yeah, because it gets under the skin. Because they believed, and that's the thing. And the reason why I know it gets under their skin,
they believed what you believed.
They believed what I believed at that same moment. And then I made And I was lucky enough at that point to make a conscious decision. They didn't have that choice. They didn't have that choice to be like,
No,
I
they were
opt out.
gung ho still.
And well, they were gung
wanted
ho,
it.
but it wasn't a contention of them getting out or staying in. They were going regardless. They still had enough time that they were going to go regardless. And yes, they were gung ho about it. Understandably so, coming from where we all came from. We were all gung ho at one point. I was gung ho. I was going to go if I could get the extension, because by the time I got back, I would be getting out of the Marine Corps. So I was like, let's bet, like, let's do it. Like, I'm fine with that. I could go, I could at least say that I was there, and then I could get the fuck out. And, you know, it comes with a sense of prestige, you know, that follows you around. I went to Iraq. I went to Afghanistan. I went to, you know, a place
100%. You wanted that prestige. Yeah. Everyone did.
You wanted that. And it wasn't even so much about going to war, because you could go there and say, I sat on a fob the entire time, and nobody would even question you. They'd be like, yeah, but you were in Iraq. Like, it's all good, brother. You don't have to be like, you know, whatever about it. But now, and then people ask me,
there's
like,
levels to it.
Yeah. And it's like, now, like, it's like, oh, did you deploy? I was talking to a dude the other day, and he was like, oh, did you deploy? And I was like, nah, man, like, I got lucky enough. I didn't have to deploy or anything like that. I was in Japan. I got to work with EOD. We went to Guam. Like, I had it pretty fucking easy. And he was like, you're lucky, man. And I was like, I know I am. I wanted to, but I'm really glad I didn't. But, you know, it's like that prestige thing. And so I was very lucky that, but it was like, relating this back to what you were talking about, was, I have said it multiple times on this podcast, my deciding factor were the people in charge of me that I was going to deploy with. It had nothing to do with if my gung-ho-ness for what war was went down. I obviously, at that point in time, it was the last year of my Marine Corps career, I didn't agree with the war. But I was still, just because I was a Marine, I was like, well, I should go to war. I should experience this. You know, it was something that I felt like I needed to experience. But my deciding factor was talking to the gunnies that I was going to deploy with, talking to the staff sergeants I was going to deploy with, talking to the major, talking to the officers, whether they were like, there was a captain, there was a couple lieutenants, talking to those people and seeing who I was going to deploy with. And I was like, fuck no, these people are literally going to get me killed. And we're not even going to be in a fucking crazy situation, but they're going to make the situation crazier just for them. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Or I was less worried about me getting killed and more worried about them forcing me to send one of my boots to do something, and then they would get killed. And them being like, no, you can't go do it yourself. They have to do it because you're the sergeant, you know, you're the person that has to stay. So they're going to go do this because knowingly it's dangerous and I am in a more important position than they are. So we don't want to lose me. And there's a possibility of losing somebody. So they are going to go instead of you, and you have to tell them. And I didn't want that on my conscience. I honestly didn't. I didn't want that to happen. So I was like, I'm out. I'm getting out of the Marine Corps. And then they were fucking furious, but I didn't give a shit. And what are you going to do? Force me to stay in? Can't. Well, I mean, they can, but they weren't going to. And so, you know, that's what you're literally ran by fucking literal retards. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not fucking doing it. And then you fucking get out in the retard and fucking the real world. I almost said retardville, but it's basically retardville out here too. It's literally one dumbass after the next.
Yeah, man, like that's one of the most like mind-blowing things you experience when you're in the military, is because you kind of have this assumption that the people that are in charge of you know a lot more than you and are like understand like what you need to do. And then you realize that they're being told what to do. And you're doing something that's completely fucking retarded. Even when they know that it's retarded. Even when they know yes, they will admit that was the worst. They would admit that we don't really agree with this, but we have to do it. And you're like, what? And you're just so confused. Because you're like, well, like, you're telling me that this is dumb. Everyone around me is bitching about it and complaining about it and know this is dumb. Why are we doing this? Because you were told. And you're like, that's just not good enough. That is just not fucking good enough for me.
Yeah.
And I can't take that in a lot of different aspects of my life. And a lot of like I think everyone's been in that situation kind of.
Yeah.
But like in the military, it's like you do it or you're ostracized from the community.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
I loved how hard you tried on that word.
It's a hard word. Okay? Words are fucking hard.
It's like that.
There's not a mishap.
It's like onions, tomatoes, balsamic vinegar. That's a big word for Elmo.
I just think that, I don't know. I just think it's fucking crazy. And then like the fact that, all this fucking propaganda is going off right now, that Ukraine, that like all this stuff. And it just makes me like, we're looking at the president of the United States. It's Joe Biden. Everyone kind of knows that Joe Biden's not really in charge. Like everyone kind of assumes that this old dude is fucking is like he's in charge, and like he can't even barely get through a whole fucking conversation without messing up, right?
Yeah.
This dude, like, if anyone doesn't know, the president is directly in charge of the military. They are in charge. They make the decisions. Now, I don't know if Joe Biden's directly in charge or whatever, but are we really about to go to fucking war with Joe Biden leading the way?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. This whole Joe Biden shit and Ukraine shit is going to be one of the wildest portions of the United States history. Like, I don't know how long we're going to last. I really don't. I have no fucking idea. But when we look back on this, on whatever fucking country, non-country that we are, in 60 years, 80 years, when I'm 90 years old, I'm going to be like, yeah, your fucking great grandkids are asking you, what was all that about Joe Biden and Ukraine, or you guys going to war under Joe Biden? Because like there's two, right? There's two. It's the Ukraine because of everything that's going on in the Ukraine. And then Iran. I mean, Iran has been the goal for the longest time. And they've talked about Iran openly within the last couple of months, talking about how we might need to go there. And I don't know how we're going to explain this part of our history. Like, I really don't, because fuck the military. I'm not going to say the generals and shit, because it seems like the generals, like at least the higher ones up that are very involved with, the president on a daily basis or weekly basis, they're bought on to this whole wokeism shit, which whatever, like you're not going to stop it. They're a cog in the machine. They follow orders. That's why they got to that position. It's not because they made waves. That's for goddamn sure. So like Joe Biden can do whatever he wants with that. I feel like he can do whatever he wants with that. It's not going to fucking matter very much. Like, he can go to war with Iran. He can go to war for Ukraine against Russia. Going to war against Russia, this is giving me anxiety. Going to war with Russia seems like a bad idea on all fronts, no matter if it's for the freedom of Ukraine or not. There's a lot of things that I've read about Ukraine in general that it could be that a lot of the people there want to be a part of Russia, or at least annexed by Russia, kind of like we do with Puerto Rico. And then there's a lot of people there that want to be, the free state of Ukraine. I don't know. I don't really know. You don't know the sentiment of the public as well, because you're only getting half of the media. But Ukraine has been a hot topic. Dude, I didn't know shit about the Ukraine while we were in the Marine Corps. I didn't know a goddamn thing about the Ukraine while we were in the Marine Corps.
Wasn't talked about.
No, it wasn't talked about at all. But since I've been out, since 2016, right? I got out in 2000. Yeah, since 2016, I feel like every year we've talked about the Ukraine. I feel like almost every year the Ukraine has been brought up because something was going on there. Russia was trying to move into the Ukraine and has been trying to move into the Ukraine. But then I hear a lot about like the rebels in the Ukraine, not being, actual people from the Ukraine. They're not that. They're just not.
Or they don't represent
they
a
don't
significant
represent
portion of their populace.
population. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's right, because honestly, if we were to be fully honest, like the Libertarian Party doesn't represent a large portion of our populace, but we think we know what's right for other people. True. And I think I don't know what the rebels in Ukraine are fucking saying, or if it's just the state government that's fighting against Russia. I don't really know. And you can go into it. I'll just finish this. Is at least in our case, when it comes to libertarians in the United States, I fully believe it's for the good of all people, not saying that it's easier for all people. And we're not fighting the government in the sense of guns and rifles right now. But it's an imposing force. And if the United States had that, libertarians would fight against that too, even if the overwhelming majority of the population would say that China becoming our leader was a bad thing. So I don't really know how it is with Ukraine. I haven't looked into it as much as other people.
The easiest question, the big question is not that what's right for Ukraine or right for Russia. Because honestly, why the fuck do Americans care?
Yeah.
The biggest thing is you need to ask is, if we go to war, a conventional war with Russia, are you willing to send your family member? I don't have kids. A lot of people have kids, but are you willing to send your little cousin, your little brother over to go fight Russia because of Ukraine? Have you ever met a fucking Ukrainian in your entire life?
Yeah,
I never have.
So this is one of those things that I've always been torn about. I am fully, and this is also something that the United States doesn't allow. If you believe in that fight, I believe you should go and fight in it. If you think that you can help, then you should go and help. I believe that you should be able to go and help. In the United States, you're not going to go and you're not going to be a United States citizen, go and fight with the Ukrainian fucking rebels against Russia. You're not allowed to do that. I don't think that our military necessarily should be involved. I don't think that they should be involved at all. Even if they were fighting for the libertarian paradise, I don't think that we should send troops over there to help the Ukrainian rebels to fight the Russians.
What if Mexico wanted to take back their land that used to be theirs here in the United States? Parts of Texas, parts of Arizona, parts of California, whatever, Nevada, whatever. If Mexico was you know what, we want our shit back. You took from us, I don't know, 200 years ago or whatever, 100 years ago, whatever the fuck it was that we took land from Mexico. I don't remember. But Mexico wants it back. Should a Russian kid come over to Mexico and fight that war?
As long as he believes in it. Yeah.
That.
I don't think the Russian government should send its troops, but if a Russian kid wants to, then a Russian kid should be able to.
Sure, but I'm saying is
conventional military? No.
On a massive scale, Russia take their children to go settle a dispute between Mexico and the United States?
No. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all.
Because let's just be honest. Most people in the United States have never interacted with the Ukrainian in their entire life. We have no idea what their culture is like. We have no idea what those people believe in. But all of a sudden, we're about to send our kids, children, fucking young 20-year-old dudes to go fight other Russian people over something that we don't even fucking understand.
Yeah,
we don't even fucking know.
How many United States, people in the United States, have been to the Ukraine enough to understand its geopolitical?
Less than 1%.
Oh yeah, by far, by a lot. There's, I think I don't remember. I read somewhere like the amount of people that have traveled outside the United States, like percentage of the population, and it's like very low. It's very low. It's but it's like surprisingly low for a country that is so superfluous, just, very flamboyantly, we have money, that's kind of how I see the United States. A lot of people are just like, we have more money than the rest of the world. They do not go to the rest of the world. Like, they do not go to the rest of the world at all. And it's kind of wild. Like, as much as people travel, the population percentage to people that have traveled outside the United States is incredibly low. When I also understand that, in Europe and places like that, it's higher because they are a lot closer geographically. Like, I understand. But
and honestly, I don't even really count a weekend trip at Mexico as really leaving out of the United. I mean, I guess technically speaking,
because
yes.
Imagine a Chicagoan go to fucking Mexico. That is a culture shock. That's a culture shock.
Okay, I agree with that.
I Arizonian going to Mexico, fucking Phoenician or fucking person from Tucson
hopping the
going
border
to Mexico?
at El Paso. Like, really? Did you leave the culture around you?
Yeah.
Did you leave? Is the culture really that much different?
No, it's not. It's not. It's a very similar culture. The only part with Juarez, which our buddy Mario would fucking argue, is Juarez is incredibly more ghetto than it's literally like a cartel capital on the border of the United States.
Yeah.
But
he's like, I know this because I have cousins.
Yeah, because he was born there. But like, it's just one of those things where I think a lot of people say this, and I think a lot of people in other countries say this about Americans: incredibly naive. We are incredibly naive.
I agree.
And I 100% agree. I couldn't agree more. No matter how good we are comparatively to other people, how well off we are incredibly naive to what the rest of the world is. And
yes,
even when it comes to state, we are incredibly naive. The amount of people that travel to different states is higher than travel to different countries, but still lower than the amount of people that travel between the UK on a daily basis. Like, it's insane. It's insane. So no, the United States should never get involved in a conflict between two countries
on the other side of the fucking world,
literally on the other side of the world, where we have no business being. The only business being is to save Joe Biden and his son.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, Joe Biden will be in charge of the military. And if he's not in charge, because kind of everyone kind of understands that
who's Secretary of Defense right now?
Lloyd Austin.
Right. We've talked about him before.
And like, but even then, it's like, dude, we have this history that just happened. Like, look at Afghanistan. It was a complete failure. It failed on an astronomical level. I mean, us leaving was amazing. That's a great thing that happened for this country. We were not dealing with that anymore. But at the same time, it's like, even the way we left was fucking embarrassing on a national scale.
Incredibly
so embarrassing. Like, the people that we were fighting, the whole time, we made a deal with. And then the people that were fighting the whole time and we made a deal with, at least in the national eyes, they took over the country right when we left. We spent all this money building up this nation, and then the people that we were fighting the whole time just took over. So, like, are we really going to let the architects that created this whole military apparatus that put us in Afghanistan in the first place, are we really going to let them lead us into an conventional war?
I think the other half of that is, do we really have any choice? Like, do we honestly have any choice? Like that's my biggest thing at this point in time. Like, you and I can sit here and say that the American populace has voted for a non-interventionist president for the last 2 decades. You know, we voted for a non-interventionist president for the last 2 decades, for the last 4 presidents.
Yeah.
And we still have not had one. So like, do we really even have a choice? Like, yeah, we can sit here and spout all day about how bad Afghanistan was. But if you tell the American populace that the Ukrainians are losing their freedoms to Russians, they're going to support our troops sticker on the back of their fucking Subaru Outback.
Yeah, I'll propose this question. So the mainstream, or the corporate media that used to be called the mainstream, and they're not so mainstream anymore. They've lost a lot of credibility.
Thank God.
But I'll say this. A year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, actually, almost 2 years, they were able to scare the American people enough that where we locked down, fell completely into this COVID bullshit. Do you think that if they wanted to, through a false flag, whatever way they can, they could drum up enough support to go to war in Ukraine?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think no matter how much we think we've won, you know, like our ideology has won, and how stupid the leftist culture has looked this entire time. I think if you can spin anything as a threat to democracy in the United States, then the people of the United States will sit there and tell you we should send the most trained 18 to 20-year-olds we have to fight in a war to defend that democracy, even if it's not our own. Because if a it's like the Red Scare in the fucking 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. The Red Wall, isn't that what it was called? The Red Wall, or I don't know. The red fucking window, who cares? Whatever fucking inanimate object of a house it was. If you can, there's enough people in the United States that believe in the idea that the United States is protecting freedom. Still in the United States, they believe that even after this 2-year ordeal, they think the courts, especially with that OSHA win, that Supreme Court win with OSHA strike, or the Supreme Court striking down OSHA, they're like, democracy, our democratic republic works. Our democratic republic works for us. That was a win for freedom. Do I agree? I do agree. I do agree that it was a win for freedom. Do I agree that it's a win for long-term freedom? No, I don't. I think that comes back and bites us in the ass at some point, because they're going to use it as, see, we're not that bad. We're not authoritarian. We're not telling you what to believe. Our democracy still works. Even though the mainstream is saying, how could the Supreme Court do this? This is because Trump illegally put on 2 justices or 3 justices. Was it 2 or 3? I know 2 right at the end, 3 altogether.
I think it was 3.
Yeah. 2 right at the end, 3 altogether. It's a sham of our democracy. So we have one part of the convoluted fucking American psyche saying that it's a sham that got packed down. And then we have the other half of America, the other majority of America. That's how I should refer to it. One majority of America to the other majority of America, saying that it wasn't a sham and this is why our democracy still works. And both will tell you that we need to save freedom and democracy in another country.
I don't know. I think I kind of agree, but there's a little bit of me that's slightly,
there's a little bit of you that doesn't want to believe that.
Well, there's a little bit of me.
So you're going to say that it's true. because you think that
No,
they've
no,
done enough
no.
to reprimand themselves to look as bad as they have.
I think if it was a Republican in office, things would be different.
That's why a Republican is getting voted in 2024. Because
I think
right after that,
if
they can do whatever war they want.
Yeah, I think a Republican could pull it off. Joe Biden in charge, I don't know if they could do it.
And that's what I'm saying. Clinton, with Clinton, it didn't work. All right, so with Bush Sr., it didn't really work going into Iraq, right? Like it didn't really work.
But Bush Jr.
Really
or like the
Bush
first
senior,
time?
Senior.
Okay,
First
okay,
time.
okay.
Didn't really work. And then Clinton kind of continued it. Didn't really work, but gained a lot more following. Didn't really work.
Yeah, he played off as like more of an anti-war guy, but was also secretly bombing the shit out of him. So it was like kind of like undercover shit.
Yeah. And that's what the Democrats are good at. Obama, same thing. We drew down the troops.
Yes.
We drew down the troops. We drew down the troops.
Yeah,
and we
yeah,
bombed the fuck out of the country. Bombed the
that's
fuck
what's
out
weird.
of the country.
That's what's weird. Is like,
and I'm surprised we didn't go to Iran. Like I said, I'm surprised we never went to Iran with Trump. I really thought we were going to. We just,
I mean,
we just bombed the fuck out of their generals.
Yeah, he bombed their fucking generals, and that was like, I mean, I didn't know what to expect from that.
Dude,
I
do
was
you
like,
remember?
Jesus
Sorry, do you remember
Christ.
when the Saudi oil fields were bombed? What happened with that? Who did it?
I don't know, dude. I don't remember that actually.
Who did it? You don't remember? When the big oil field got like bombed in Saudi Arabia?
I don't remember that. What I do remember is Trump sending like troops there to guard them, and he like kind of like straight up admitted it was like, well, they paid, and we're sending our troops there. It was a good deal, and it was like, wait, so our people are mercenaries? Like you're admitting that? You didn't even try to spin it like for democracy. He was like, they paid. I mean, I kind of respect that in a sense, where he's just like, they paid, we're sending our troops there. And it's like, well, at least you're being honest.
So, all right, but the latest, so the latest in a spate of assaults claimed by Iran-backed Houthi rebels. That's who did it. Iran-backed, according to the Saudis, Iran-backed Houthi rebels.
In Yemen, they fought the Houthis. They're fighting back. Good for them, dude.
Well, that was early 2021. That was early 2021.
I don't remember that.
We talked about it, and it was a big deal. It was a big deal because it was like it pushed the price of gas up under Trump during the pandemic, even more so than it already was because we were in the middle of a pandemic. And you know, it's just one of those things where I think if we get attacked or are people that think like us that attack, dude, or cultures that look like ours, you can show, dude. Honestly, I don't know if you've seen. There's some videos of like what it's like in the day of in Moscow, a day in the life of a person in Moscow. And it looks like a day in the life of a fucking United States citizen. But a lot of people don't see that shit, you know? And there's videos all over of what the Ukraine looks like. There's videos all over of what the Ukraine looks like. And a normal, United States citizen has seen it on CNN or has seen it on fucking Fox News or seen it on NBC, one of those fucking places. Just videos of, one of those are reporters sitting in the Ukraine and like a major city being like, this is a war-torn city that looks just like ours, like, could you imagine if this was your home, kind of thing.
For sure.
And so I think, and the fact that we don't see the Russian side of it is one of those things where it's like, so there's people literally just going to get bagels in the morning to take to their office to talk about fucking spreadsheets and goddamn PowerPoints all goddamn day.
I think
in Moscow.
I think Fox News has more of a control on if we go to war than any other cable news network.
Yeah, and if there's anything that I know about Fox News, it's that they will eventually flip the script and say, let's go to war.
Possibly. But fucking, I'll just say this. I don't know. You might be right. I might be a little too more optimistic, maybe a little bit more white-pilled than I should be. But I'll say that fucking Tucker Carlson has come out very against this. He's very against the whole idea. He's made the point that we've made on our show here when we say people joining NATO, or like if Mexico and Russia decide to make a deal, then that would be a very egregious thing for the Americans to see, and would be very against that. Just to fucking, just like if you know, like we're watching these countries go to battle with each other, and it's like, why would we give a fuck what happens in Ukraine? And just like if Ukraine joins NATO, joins this pact, they're going to be like, hey, we'll go to war with Russia, with everyone in NATO, if Russia does something that we deem as egregious. Just like America would get pissed if Mexico does something where they're like, hey, if you do something to piss Russia off, we go to war. Like, that would fucking upset Americans. We'd be like, what the fuck, Mexico? We let all your people in all the time. We held off on building this wall. We go down there and party, bro. Like, why are you doing this to us?
Half
like,
your family lives here. Yeah.
Half your family sends money back and shit. Why are you fucking doing this?
Taxed. They send their money back taxed.
No, untaxed.
Yeah, because now they're using Bitcoin.
Untaxed, dude. I don't know how many times I've heard it here, because don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know the Mexican restaurant, you got some people sending money back home.
For a white community, you're like, you look at the fucking factory here, and you're like, where the fuck do all these Mexicans come from? You're just curious. You're like, what? And then there's like 4 trailers in the trailer park that they all live in, and you're like confused.
It's a fucking clown car. Just scurry out of it like fucking like ants out of an anthill.
So all of a sudden, these people are like, yo, meet up. These people, their country's like, yeah, we're gonna go join this alliance. And if you fucking get out of hand, we're going to war with you.
I don't see it so much as a war against Russia. I think it'd be like a conventional war against Russia. I think it'll be more so Cold War-ish propaganda.
Well, I see it. I don't think we can get in a hot war. I don't think this country can take it right now. But I think they could potentially be like, we're sending all these arms and military aid to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And we're gonna build up this force or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys.
Trump. I mean, Trump did that. Remember, like Trump did that when like the skirmishes early in his fucking early in his term. He did that. So like, I see the same thing playing out. Like, I really don't. I think I don't. How far is Kazakhstan from Russia?
It's right below it. They're bordering.
Yeah, that's what I
states.
thought. That's what I thought. They were bordering, right? Yeah. So like,
that's where Borat is. And
yeah.
That's the only reason I knew where Kazakhstan was in the first place.
I figured that they were like right there, like a little south, but bordering. I mean, that's very general. But at the same time, like, I just assumed, like, if there's any state to go after for Russia, it seems like that one, right? Like, why the Ukraine? And it's because the US is part of the Ukraine. The US is so involved in the Ukraine. And I think, like, I see it as just a way to drum up funding for the American and the Russian system. Like, I think these people I think I'm the black-pilled one, right? In this podcast, like, I'm the black-pilled one.
Well, I'll even, I'll steal, man.
It's a way to drum up tax dollars, money, whatever, for those systems so that they can justify it enough for enough of the population, not the whole population, not a majority, but enough of the population that it doesn't hurt them one way or the other. And Russia just got rid of Bitcoin in their entire country. They said, you're not allowed to trade it. You're not allowed to mine it. You're not allowed to do anything like that. I feel like the US is going to do something like that soon. I feel like they might try it. I don't think it's going to be as serious as that. But at the same time, I feel like we're going to see some major legislation come through about Bitcoin, and they're going to scare people and putting it on their taxes, putting it on their statements to the IRS, putting it on things like that. They're going to scare people in that. And you know what? Like, it'll work. It's a
good sign.
It'll fucking, well, and it'll work. Like, people are going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. They have so much power over this shit that they can get away with this shit. And they can get away with, we're arming the rebels in Ukraine.
Sure.
And it's the same thing. And I think that's worse. I think, last thing. I think that's worse. I think that shit is worse than conventional warfare. Because with conventional warfare, you have to see it stuck in your face when your people come home. And I think that's incredibly worse.
So I can agree with you on a lot of those things. I actually think that they could, and they probably will, just like any government would, that if they fucking drum up enough, seriousness, crisis that's going on in Ukraine, they can pass and scare enough of the chicken shit Republicans that, like, hey, if you don't fucking pass this bill or whatever, that it's going to really significant our help in our fight in Ukraine. And let's just say that, like, they're not sending troops there. It's not troops that are being sent there. It's being like funding, aid, intelligence assistance, whatever the fuck they want to do to help out Ukraine. Because I don't think that Biden, at least right now, that Biden can pull off a war with Ukraine. I think it would piss off his base too much. But also, like, a bunch of Republican types would be like, I'm not going to fucking war with Joe Biden. Like, that's the mentality. But I think they could have the possibility of getting away with sending funding, arms, whatever. And then they can sneak shit into those bills where they're like, yeah, we need to fucking do this, that, or whatever. And if you don't support this, that's un-American of you. And that gets a lot of fucking, like, right-wing type people annoyed, upset. And if they can upset their base enough, you can upset enough Republican voters to vote to do something to help Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I
think at the same time, they don't need the Republican vote to do that. They need it's whatever, what is it? The UMAU or whatever, the Emergency Authorization Act.
Oh, sure.
They don't have to. They don't have to, and they can use it whenever they want.
The only thing is, I don't think if you're if you're trying to play this out for a strategic level to the next presidential election, as a Democrat, you cannot get in a hot war. You cannot get in a hot war because that is not what your base wants.
Well, and like I said, I don't think they'll get in a hot war. I think they play it out, long game, as always, just like the COVID shit. It's long game. It's not now. Now sucks, but it's not long game. It's all for.
Well, even politically speaking, I will say the COVID thing is kind of a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Because if you're all for the vaccine, the mask mandates, the lockdown, whatever the fuck you're all about as your political ideology, and you think this is better for the human society, when do people see results?
Yeah, no, we've talked about that, right? Like it's a lose-lose, and they think they're seeing results. They have to make
up results.
They have to make up results, and they do. And yes, it's kind of backfired on them, but we're still in it. We're still doing it.
I agree. What I'm saying is, like, they can prolong this only to a certain amount. Now, I don't know how long, that will be that they can scare enough Democrat type people to like go along with this COVID shit. But there has to be some sort of endpoint. And the only problem is even the vaccinated people are getting infected.
Yeah.
And they're spreading it. So it's like, wait, when is this what's it called? An endemic or whatever? And typically, as from my understanding from listening to other smart people, is that like an endemic is when the virus becomes so ineffective that it actually it's not deadly to people anymore, right?
Yeah.
But they made it, they went so hard on it to where if you get infected, it's almost like a sin. Like that's a problem. And I don't think there's any end game. So that's why I think they're going to back out of the COVID stuff so much, is because there's no real end game. Like at least with like Afghanistan, they can pretend it's like, oh, we're making progress. We did this and that. And even though it was such an aggressive pullout and then it all went to shit, the whole time they could pretend from reports or whatever, they can pretend that it was an easy win. But with the virus, it's hard to just pretend it's an easy win. I mean, like even the corporate media people are asking Joe Biden, like, the cases for COVID are up, right? I thought you were going to do something to end this, because like the cases going up is like an easy thing to look at and be like, well, the vaccinated people.
I just think that's an easy pivot to be like, it's because of the unvaccinated.
Well, I think they're trying that. I think they're trying that, but the problem is that a lot of vaccinated people are getting COVID.
Yeah, I know. I get that, but they're blaming the unvaccinated. They're blaming these variants. Dude, all right,
Sure.
So hold on. Isn't it weird that there's a show about fucking variant Marvel characters that came out this last year, and now there's like weird. A variant fucking. All right. Anyways, I digress. But so there's these variants, right? And they're because of the unvaccinated not getting vaccinated. And so I think they can. I honestly believe. I don't think it's going.
But that's a hard sell point when your initial sell point was that if you got the vaccine, you cannot get infected.
Yeah, but that's a lot of people don't. But a lot of people aren't caring about that. Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of lefties that are saying
you're right. You're right. What we see on the internet is not reflective of what we see in real life, because there is a lot of lefties that I'll be like, well, they sold it on like you can't get infected. And I'm like, well, everyone knows. Everyone knows that you can get infected. Yeah, and I'm like, oh fuck,
you can still get polio, you can still get smallpox. Yes, and then they show the picture of those two kids that one got smallpox and the other had the infection. They both had the infection. One was vaccinated, one wasn't, and it's like, see, it's less. And I just think it's an easy jump. It's not so much that it's like,
but I don't think they're as effective anymore.
I don't think that they're as effective. I'm not saying that they're as effective.
I don't think
but as long as you harden your base, I don't think it matters if it's effective. If you can harden your base, and that's my problem. All right, so that's my problem with libertarianism. We can't, like, the libertarians can't harden our own base.
Oh, they're hard.
So much so. No, they're not.
No.
We're such bitches.
No. What I
mean,
we
argue about the word fucking nigger and faggot all the time.
No. What I mean, okay, let me explain. They're being pushed out. Like, they're being pushed out. Like,
I know, but we still have a ways to go.
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, I agree. What I'm saying is, like, the Libertarian Party is being like de-wokeified.
Yes,
and like, I don't know if that will gin up enough political support. Honestly, it might actually hurt the Republican Party. If you're with the argument that the Republican Party has the best, at least, chance against this fucking Democratic bullshit, then you might want to side with like Pete Quinones and Theo Bishop, and we're like, yo, we need to band together as like one. But they're like, the Libertarian Party might be the only organization where it's like being de-wokeified on a massive scale. Well, it's like,
I can agree with that, because I think, and this has always been my thing, I think and my problem with Tho is that I think the Republican Party has their own woke bullshit that they deal with on a daily basis.
I think they bend the knee too much.
Yes.
I think they bend like me, like this
and
is why
that was kind of like when we
first
first started this podcast. I would always argue with you about the Republican Party and how it was like, I was like, I get you on the Democratic Party. You don't have to tell me twice about that. But the Republican Party are such bitches, and that's why I get so heated about it. Yeah, we had a whole argument about the Trump shit like early on in our like when we started doing this, because I was like, they're such fucking bitches that they're not gonna do shit about it, and that's my problem. And so I will give you that if we had to choose out of the three parties who has the best like who has the most hardened base or is hardening their base the best towards the outcome that we want is libertarianism.
But what I'm saying is it's a bad thing. They're so they're so integrated into like their libertarian beliefs that they're almost unemotional about it, where they cannot get on an emotional level with like regular voters. Like
are you talking about like leaders? Because what I'm saying is when I'm saying hardening their base, when I'm saying hardening their base, I'm talking about like Democrats banding together, and no matter what Joe Biden does, no matter what Joe Biden says.
But I don't think that's happening.
But it is happening to a point. Like it is, because they were still like people that believe in, whether it's blue checks or just major news forces, they're hardening their base. I'm not saying that their base is getting wider. I'm saying that the people that believe in their ideology is hardening it. They're getting closer together in their ideology, that it's almost like it's when we talk about the NPC bullshit, like they are the NPC, and I think the Democratic Party has become the NPC of the fucking world because they hardened their base quickly.
I don't think the left. No. I think the left had that when Trump was president, because they had that singular thing they could be against. But now with Joe Biden in charge, they don't have that anymore.
Yeah, so they just argue, but all they argue is we just voted in Joe Biden, like the hardened people of the base that I'm talking about. We just voted in Joe Biden because it wasn't Trump.
Small. That base is small.
Right, but it's not. I'm not saying about how big. That's what I'm saying. It's not about how big it is. It's not about how big it is. It's how hardened are their beliefs in this thing. Yeah, because it doesn't, in my opinion, at this point, it doesn't matter, because as long as there's a ruling power, whether it's Democratic or Republican, as long as there's that, they're just going to switch teams whenever they get to, whenever like the people that are ruling, not the people that are voting, the people that are ruling. So they will always have that base to fall back on, to be like, we'll get him in 4 years. We'll get him in 2 years. We'll get him in 6 years when the next House results come up.
That's what that's why I don't think like Trump running again would actually be a good idea. Like maybe I'm not saying that like,
but I think a DeSantis run continues the trend.
Maybe
because
I will say maybe,
honestly,
because the Democrats went so hard on the COVID
Republicans.
Shit. Well, I would say the Democrats just went so hard on this COVID shit that DeSantis looks like an outsider. He looks like an outsider to normal people. He looks like he's a fucking like, I just don't care about this.
But
I'm not forcing people to do this.
That's the same thing that we said about Trump. But once they're in,
but that's what I'm saying.
All the difference, and it hardens the base.
But
after they're in.
That doesn't like. I don't. Maybe this is This is my perspective, but I don't really care
That's
much.
You're a bitch. I'm just kidding.
What the person like? Yes, I actually care what the person does when they're in power, but I'm more curious about what people vote for, why they vote for that person. That's why I was so curious why people vote, because like when the people vote for something, that means they're going all out and like they believe in this whatever the person's saying.
And that's
more important to me.
But the only reason why I don't care about that anymore is because we voted for a non-interventionist president for the last 2 decades, and it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered. And that's my thing.
I think
it hasn't mattered. Yes, does it delay the sentiment constantly? Because and do less and less people agree? I agree with that. I agree with you on that. Absolutely. It delays the sentiment, and eventually maybe it'll be like, what I'm saying is, maybe eventually the majority of that party is like, no, we want a non-interventionist president. You will only put up a non-interventionist president. But what I'm saying is it's hardening both their bases. Their bases being the ones that they will justify the war if they're Democrat, because the Democrat is just trying to get out of the war. So they're trying to do what they need to. And then the Republican side is, it's a just war because the Democrats started it and we're just trying to finish the war. Those bases are getting so hardened right now. And I think those are the loudest people right now. I'm not saying that they're the sentiment of the United States, but they are so outspoken and they have so much power that people are like, well, I'd rather this one than that one. And then it just continues. I'd rather this one than that one. I'd rather this one than that one. It just continues, which is how it's been for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think there's any answers through Washington. I don't think that we'll solve any problems through Washington. But the only thing that I find interesting is like, what I find is interesting is like how people vote, because how people vote is, in my opinion, how you can see where the country's at. Like, if immigration wasn't that big of a deal, I mean, most Americans didn't care about it, then I don't think Trump would have won. If like, that's where I see where most people's concerns are, where most people's problems are. So that's why I see it so valuable, is like understanding what motivates the American people. What is their concerns? What is their problem?
And then my only stance to that is when only 50% of Americans vote in the most popular election of the year. Well, you're not getting what the other side is saying.
That's a true understanding of Americans, is when you look at that, is that there's damn near close to 50%, whatever it is, over 50,
don't
under
give a
50.
Shit who is in charge.
Most people don't. At least they might care who's in charge, but they don't want to participate in American elections. They don't see a value in it. And that is a major, like, what I would say, white pill for us.
Yeah.
That 50% of Americans literally see that whoever you vote for, it doesn't matter, that the election process is not meaningful, and they're not willing to go wherever the fuck you need to go to vote. And they see it as something that's not, and it's not something they need to participate in. It's not an emergency. They don't need to like, oh my God, we need to change this thing. That's a white pill. That's awesome to me, because we're anarchists and we think that anyone that believes in the system is crazy. And then it's so weird too, because there's like those people that vote and they like get all uppity about it, or they're like, oh, I voted for Joe Biden this last election. I voted for.
There was a parent.
There's a filter on Tinder that says I voted.
There's a parent at my girlfriend's daycare that dressed her kid up in a future voter outfit. A baby. Can't even say mom yet. It's a baby. It was just born. It's 6 months old.
It's retarded.
Future voter on it. And guess what party she's voting for?
Democrat, I bet.
Yep.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I don't know. I see it here where there's like Republican types that are proud of voting, I guess, but they're like proud, but they're not necessarily proud of voting. They're proud of voting Republican.
Yeah.
But like Democrat,
and that's what I'm saying.
I've ran into with this. Well, there's like Democrat people I've ran into with, they're not necessarily they're not necessarily proud. I mean, this could just be like the Trump Biden thing, but it could just be that like they're just proud of voting. They're proud of participating in the process.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like, you know, the participation trophy shit is retarded. because they're like, oh, I voted the next war criminal in, so I deserve credit for changing the country.
Yeah.
When this dude dropped a drone bomb on 10 civilians, 7.
They did it
were
again. Did you see
children.
that? They just did it again, like a couple weeks ago. They just did it again.
I actually didn't see that, and it doesn't surprise me.
I know. It's just like, come on. And we just go through the same cycle. And I'm not saying that the cycle is not changing, but I really don't see it changing as much as maybe I'm saying that you're arguing. How in my head, what you're arguing is it might not be the same value. You know what I mean? But like in my head, like I don't see it changing at all. Like that's what my value is the status quo is continuing.
Do you think the right is becoming more radicalized?
I think part of the right is becoming more radicalized, but I think the Tea Party was radicalized. You know what I mean? And then it just disappeared. It just disappeared. It has no strength anymore. So I think they get radicalized, and it's what we've said about the right. The right is better being the underdog. We've said that so many times. It's so much better being the underdog.
They focus on liberty, and they focus on like the tradition, the Constitution.
And then instantly when they win again, they are the right that the left hates.
They get complacent. They get so complacent.
Well, and it's because they're in power. And I get it. They're in power. So they get to do whatever the fuck they want to do, because that's what happens when you're in power. It's just like a king. If a king changed every 4 years, the next king would do something different. And that's how they act it. And,
they give the presumption. That's why I hate, like in a sense, I hated when Donald Trump was president, because you could be like, literally, the left is winning. The left is getting all they want. And then the person on the right would be like, well, no, Donald Trump's stopping it. And you're like, no. Like, you don't understand. Like, he's folding like a fucking, like a foldable chair. Like he's giving everything to the progressives, and they just can't see it. But when like Joe Biden's in charge, who somehow, in a lot of perspective, is like radically left, which he's not radical at all. He's just a moderate fucking Democrat. But they see him as a radical Democrat, and they're like so resistant to everything he does. And it's like, thank fucking God. Thank God. But if like, just let's just say, I don't know, but let's just say Donald Trump wins the next election, there'll be way more, they'll make excuses. Like this is what we say all the time too, is like when there's a Republican in charge, more gun laws pass, more restrictions pass. But when a Democrat, you see the right come out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Republicans are like, oh, the budget. Yeah. The budget means something. We can't do all the spending. Donald Trump's in charge. We can pass literally the largest budget or spending bill ever in recorded history, which is like 2 times Barack Obama's. We can just print more money out of nowhere.
And that's why I see it as the status quo. And that's why I see them just hardening their bases.
I want to delegitimize the federal government at any means possible. At any means possible. Like, obviously, we're anarchists. We want no government. Yeah. I just think that if we can get rid of the federal government, convince enough people in this world that we do not need the federal government for anything ever, I honestly believe that's an achievable goal. I think that one day in our lifetime, we can actually see some states or state somewhere be like,
we're need the federal government anymore.
We're done. We succeed. We're out of here. We're fucking done. And I think that's possible. I don't know if we'll see the complete abolishment of the federal government and like what we know today. But I think, honestly, it's very possible we can see a state be like, yeah, we're done with this shit, dude.
I could see that. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. That's why I'm more like, like, it's funny too, like with our Liberty Twitter, I see much more like New Hampshire people excited about being from New Hampshire than I see like Texas people being from Texas.
Yeah.
Like,
but I ain't living.
And maybe you need that. Well, maybe I'm not even dissing on them. Maybe you need that type of mentality to
Yeah, to just
like
be proud from your state
Yeah.
or your community.
yeah, I'm fucking from New
Well,
Hampshire.
the
There's
fucking
nothing you can
gangs
say
got it
about
right
me.
way before anybody else. I've been saying this for a while.
Yes.
Gangs got it
Yes.
right before anybody
Yes.
else. They were the
I
first
agree.
anarchists. They're like,
Yes.
hey, I'm from Inglewood. Like, let's go.
Yes,
Like,
I
I'm
agree.
from Inglewood. I'm not from
It's that
Cali. I'm
same
not from
mentality.
LA.
Yeah.
I'm from Inglewood, or I'm from
And
Compton.
you kind of get
or even
annoyed.
better, what I hear better, South Compton, like, or
Yeah.
North Compton, or north side of Phoenix, or whatever.
Yes.
I'm from
I think
South
that's a good
Phoenix.
thing. That's why I love
I'm
it.
from
I
a
think that's a
community.
very good thing. You need to like very specific, be like, I'm from here. I'm not part of you. And I think you need that mentality. And I kind of love that the New
I think it's an
Hampshire's kind of
individual.
building that.
I think it's an individualist mentality, because
Good.
if you can be an individual in a community and you can say that you're from this community, and you're like, I'm a part of this community, because when you're saying you're a part of you're from South Phoenix, there's a stigma that's attached to what South Phoenix is, right? There's a stigma there, and it's like, yeah. And I'm saying it exactly like that for a fucking reason, because I am a part of that stigma.
You don't want to be known by any. You don't want to say Phoenix.
No.
You say Phoenix, that can come with bad connotations.
Yeah, I'm from South Phoenix, or I'm from West Phoenix, or I'm from East Phoenix, and it's like, oh, you guys are chill, but whatever. Nobody's scared of you. Nobody's whatever. But if you're from South Phoenix, or West Phoenix, there's a connotation that comes with that. That's like, don't fuck with you. Don't fuck with them.
That's why I love.
But West Phoenix and South Phoenix, like, fuck, if you go to certain spots of that, it's like, okay, like, this is what, but it doesn't matter, because there's a connotation and a tone that comes off when
that's
you're
why
from it.
That's why I love the New Hampshire just going hard in this idea. Is like, I'm from New Hampshire. I'm not from the United States. I'm from New Hampshire.
We don't do that shit. Whatever you know about New Hampshire, that's what we do.
And if you're not from New Hampshire, it kind of annoys you. You're like, yo, fuck New Hampshire. Who are these people? And that's good. I think that's a good cultural riff that you need. If you're trying to build the idea of like, we're not part of this, we're our own separate thing, I think that's a good thing.
Dude, this just totally went full circle to what we were talking about in the beginning, where we were like, we're not part of this circle. We're not part of this circle. We're kind of our own circle. But no,
decentralization, baby.
Dude, I just think I think there's a part of society that needs to be like, fuck you, I'm not part of you. And not in like an overly aggressive, like, I'll fight you on sight way. It's like, don't put me into that shit. Like, don't put that bad juju on me, because I see that as bad.
Yes.
And I think that's a very good mentality to have. Be what you're about and be about it. Like, that's be what you're about and be about it. Like, you don't have to be, you go to a different country and they're like, oh, you're from the United States, and you're like, yeah, and they're like, oh, so you're like this, and it's like, no, I'm fucking not. I'm from this part of the United States, and this is how we are.
It's the same reason, like, you would justify whatever side of Phoenix you're from, because you want people to know that there's a fucking difference, right?
Yes, and people know that there's a difference.
And the same reason why I would say I'm from Southern Illinois.
Yeah, because it's not the same as Illinois.
I'm not from Chicago. I'm not from Northern Illinois. When people say Northern Illinois, they basically mean Chicago. Basically, here in Illinois. Yeah. It's the same reason why, like, I'm from Southern Illinois. I'm not like the people that represent me in office. I'm not the fucking, like, whatever reason they have not to agree with them.
Yeah, it's a specificity, right? It's very specific.
I'm not from the city. I'm from the boondock South, where like nothing's going on, cornfields and fucking woods all around here. And I make that distinct difference, and it's just like anywhere else. And that's why I love that mentality of like people in the United States Like we've always seen that. Being in the military, we've seen that where people would be like, "Oh, you're from Georgia," and then you kind of get that like, "Oh, you're a country, you fuck your cousin," and they're
You're a
like, "No, I'm
country
from
hillbilly.
Atlanta. I'm
Yeah.
from Atlanta," and you're like, "Oh, this dude's ghetto."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
totally different ideas,
Yes.
totally different perspective, right?
And I think the
It's-
more people, if we can get more people to be like,
Embrace that.
yes, because it's like I said, it's like gangs. I'm from this side. You're letting people know what your territory is, what is okay to say around you. It
Yes.
comes with so much context when you say
Yes.
specifically what you're about just by saying where you're from. And if you're like,
Yes.
you know, it'd be like, I'm from, they're like, it'd be like the people from Waco.
If someone said you were from Tucson, what would you do?
I'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'm not that hillbilly ass town.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, like that's what I'd be. I'm not that fucking, it's like a Mexican hillbilly town. Like that's what I know it as. Like that's how I grew up knowing it as.
You get
Mexican
offended.
hillbilly
You
town.
get offended.
You get offended because it's like
Slightly.
where, but at the same time, when people say, oh, you're from Phoenix, like I'd be offended too. I'd be like, no, I'm from West Phoenix or South Phoenix. Like those are the two places I grew up. And
but if you're arguing with someone,
if I say, oh, if somebody was like, or if I was like, oh yeah, I'm from Phoenix, you know, just take talking generally, and they're like, oh, like Scottsdale, and I'd be like, fuck no, like I ain't from fucking Scottsdale. Yeah. And then it comes with a different connotation, and it tells you the context of where you're from and the way you say or the way you talk about other areas that you're from. It brings just so much context about what your community is about and what you are about because you're a part of that community. And I think that's kind of like if there was a extremely liberal or not liberal, extremely liberty oriented, you know, kind of like New Hampshire, but like all I know is just New Hampshire as you know, as a general fucking state. If there was a Liberty County or something like that, or you know, an area of just very liberty oriented people, and they were like, yeah, I'm from, it's like a whole city, and they're like, I'm from the Dallas Fort Worth area, and they're like, oh, what part of Dallas are you from? And it'd be like, no, I'm from Fort Worth. And there's a connotation that comes with that where it's just like, oh, you're from the countryside of Dallas, not the most gay city in America side of Dallas. You know, the difference between Fort Worth and Dallas. Like that's kind of what the difference is. Fort Worth still has fucking cattle drives through main city streets. Like it's just such a different atmosphere when you can explain it like that. And you know, it's one of those things where I think if people could become more community oriented, it would make a huge difference while speaking to others. It's just a different vibe. Like it explains so much more about people than, oh yeah, I'm from, you know, Illinois, or I'm from Arizona, because there's just so many different types of people from those states. There's so many different, our states are huge. Wyoming has kind of a general geography where everybody thinks everybody's the same. But I bet you if you take the biggest city in Wyoming compared to a small city on the outskirts of Wyoming, they'd be like, yeah, I'm from, you know, Northwest Wyoming, not that city area. And I think that makes a difference. It changes the context of this, the argument. You're muted. You said sorry and you're muted.
I said shit, actually.
Oh.
But like, that's the thing, dude. Is like kind of like you construct it in a way. Is like if you live in Illinois, right? You don't live in Chicago, you live in Illinois. If North Chicago and South Chicago are going at war, what the fuck are you gonna? Why would you care? like, I don't know, like there's this mentality is like people in the United States are very proud of what state they're from. And they're very very instinctual to disregard other parts of their community. Like you'll hear fucking like Jared, he's from upstate New York, and he's like, yeah, but we're not like New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's understandable. He doesn't want to be framed in the way like most people in America
When they hear
New York. They're like, oh, New York City. He's like, no, I've been there like 5 times. Fuck New York City. I'm from upstate New York. I'm proud of that. And it's like, why, if New York City was having like some territorial gang war, why the fuck would upstate New York give a shit?
Yeah.
Why?
They wouldn't.
Exactly. And it's the same thing that's happening today. It's like Russia and Ukraine is having some sort of territorial gang war. Or like one side wants it, maybe the people there. I don't know who's justified.
Or Saudi and Yemen.
Yeah. Why do we care?
Why are we helping one side over the other?
Why do you care as an American? And why do you care as whatever the fuck from state that you're from? Or what little town you're from? And then
people make the argument.
Why the fuck, Luke, would you care from Phoenix, Arizona? What the fuck someone in Ukraine and Russia does?
I don't. But it's like the same thing. They'll be like, people will make the argument, well, what about the companies? And if you ask the upstate fucking, what about the small business owner, and fucking, what about the the amount of production value that comes out of New York City to an upstate New Yorkian? Sure. And they're going to be like, yeah, I don't give a shit. We have that here, or we'll make that here if we have to. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, that's the thing. People will be like,
I hate that.
What about
that's here.
Yeah. What about the oil? What about the oil in Saudi Arabia? We'll figure it out. Like, we will figure it out. I don't need it that badly. Is it nice? Yes, absolutely. It's nice when we can, create a tariff or something like that makes it cheaper for the consumer in the United States of America. Do I need it? And is it worth the amount of blood it will cost? Absolutely not. Fuck you. I don't care.
Exactly.
And so it's like, oh, the Tucson companies are, getting mowed down by, the gang members from East Tucson to West Tucson. Yeah. And it's like,
there's a massive gang war in Tucson.
It's like, yo, that's sad. I'm sorry that's happening, but it sounds like they need to figure it out themselves, because I'm not going down there to fucking fight it. I don't give a shit unless I have family down there. And then obviously there's other ties that come to that. But the amount of people that I know that have family down in Tucson, 0. That's how many people I know. I know a shit ton of people in fucking Phoenix with no family down in Tucson.
Exactly.
So guess what? I really don't care. And it sounds bad, but it's like, at a certain part, you got to stay in your fucking lane.
That's just being honest.
You just got to be your fucking thing. Because if you go outside your fucking thing, you're fucking up other people's lanes and you're getting in them. And the more you get in other people's lanes, the more people that are going to get inside your lane because you're in their lane. So why the fuck not would they get in your
lane? Imagine, you're in this fucking, you're from Tucson and you're actually in this gang war. And let's just say that you're on the other side, and the side you're fighting all of a sudden gets support from Phoenix.
Yeah.
You're going to be like,
fuck Phoenix.
Fuck Phoenix.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Fuck Phoenix. Anyone from Phoenix is a fucking weirdo.
They don't even know what's going on down here. They're just fucking fighting us because they're getting paid to fight us. And then you just become a fucking mercenary. And that's what the US military is. That's it. That's all it is. And, and like you can't argue against that anymore.
The only reason, like, what happening in Russia and Ukraine only affects us is because the news makes it affect us.
Yeah,
that's the only reason it affects us. We don't care. Most Americans don't care.
Any business aspect that comes out of it, higher prices and whatever, we'll figure it out.
That's minuscule to most people in society.
And we'll figure it out, and it'll go back down. because as not a free market as the United States is, it is a free market when it comes to people pushing against prices, which is what Kazakhstan did. Kazakhstan did the same thing. They were like, nope, we're not doing that. You're not setting the price like that. Fuck you. And Americans, I think, would do the same thing if they started having the same problems, but we don't. And that's why I say I want things to get worse, because they need to see, which is a horrible way to go about things. But I think it's the only thing that we have right now, because I don't think people are going to wake up to it. Watching Netflix.
I think they did.
I think they
more
did.
of the I think they did. 30% of the population is not vaccinated. That is after the biggest propaganda campaign in the entire universe to the world nowadays.
Right.
That they pushed this vaccine on everyone, and 30% of the population said, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, and those numbers are probably inflated a little bit. I get that. I understand. But guess what? The majority is. And as much as we want to say we're a democratic republic,
we don't need the majority.
We don't need the majority. We don't need the majority. You're right. We don't need the majority. But out of that 30%, how many people are going to be like, yeah, but we should really throw over the federal government, or we should really secede from the nation? I don't see that.
If you're saying fuck you to the federal government,
how many people are
disregarding their laws?
How many people are one issue voters? One issue voters. How many people are one issue voters? I think it's the majority of people are one issue vote, like one stance voters. Like it's not I'm voting for Biden because
super motivate. Yeah.
This, and this. It's I'm voting for Biden because he's against building a wall. They're one issue voters, right? So yeah, 30% of Americans, in my opinion, are I'm not doing this. But that's the only thing that they're not doing. They're still, not smoking weed in their state if it's not legal. They're still, I think it's a one issue thing. I think it's like, well, I agree with the federal government going to war when it's required, but I'm not going to get this vaccine because I think it's stupid.
They spent, I don't know, 2 years, a year and a half propaganding the American people to get an Iraq war. They got it. And now there's this openly defiant group of people in America. And it's like 30%. It's not an insignificant number.
Listen to this. I hope you're right.
It's an it's not an insignificant number.
You're right. I've just seen the way history
works. Over 1 million.
And right now, it's
over
not
100
in your favor.
million. Over 100 million people are like, I'm not getting this vaccine.
Yeah, and they will never get the vaccine, regardless of if it helped or not.
Yeah, exactly. They have lost so much trust in the system that they're not getting the vaccine. That's over 100 million people in this country. Now, it's not to the level of defiance that we want it to be. Yeah. Like, we wish they were more defiant, not only about the vaccine, but other things. But this is like the first step of like, your propaganda doesn't work on everyone in this country anymore. And even when you force it through the mandates of the state, we're not doing this. We're not fucking doing this.
I mean, I told my boss strictly, like, I would lose my job over not telling you one way or the other if I have the vaccine or not.
And it seems like everything's against you. But there's 100 million people that think just like you do.
100 million people spread out over a long... And so that's what makes it feel like you're alone. And so like, I get it. I get why people got it just because their jobs required it. I get it. I don't agree, but I get it. But I do agree with, Pete's and some of the other and Tim Pool's, argument on this, where it's like, the more that you keep, we're going to get the vaccine because I need food on the table for my kids. But guess what? You got the vaccine and there's still no food on the table for your kids because there's a global fucking shortage of the way the supply chain. And it's like, you did that to yourself. And guess what? Even though I didn't agree from the onset, because I was like, I'm not doing it, there's still that global shortage. So what's the answer for those people? They're not vindicated in any way. They're still got fucked.
There's a societies in this world, like especially around a lot of major cities, not all major cities, but a lot of major cities in this country, where they have completely adopted the COVID idea, the COVID regime. But there is plenty of places in this country where you can go, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I think that's a major difference from 20 years ago. Like, I think if they push the same COVID stuff, I don't think there'd be as much pushback. I don't think there'd be as much people not complying. I think more people would have lined up that got the vaccine. But now that
I don't know,
things are becoming majorly decentralized, where like not everyone's getting their information from the mainstream anymore. It's coming through a podcast or social media. That's why I'm so hesitant to criticize social media sometimes, because people make it seem like if you're getting your information
I think it's
from social media,
kind of stupid that people criticize it as heavily
when people
as
will
they do.
say like, oh, you're getting your information from social media, and it's like, yeah, because social media, the people I follow have been way more right about what's going on
and transparent
and transparent, and had admitted when they're wrong than CNN or MSNBC that my boomer parents fucking used to hold up. And that's why I'm more optimistic, is like, you know, they spent 2 years propagating people and they got their war in Iraq. Well, they spent like almost 2 years now propagating to people about these lockdown, the virus or whatever.
Yeah, but
I would 30%.
The only thing I would argue is how many people were like, no to Iraq. It wasn't like a 99% thing.
No. It's not that. It's not that there was definitely pushback.
I would argue that there was probably 30 million people that said no to Iraq, or 100 million people that said no to Iraq.
But I would say that 100 million people felt like they had to be much more silent about it, because everywhere they were getting their information from was all on board. And if
I get what you're saying, that there's more communication now from podcasters and YouTubers and whatever, this, that, or the other, saying that there's more areas to get your information from. So it
makes people comfortable to be outspoken against this shit. That's the biggest thing. Is like, you know, the masses will go along with whoever's telling them what. But if there's enough people out there telling them like it's okay to be against this bullshit, they'll be against it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know.
That's why Trump gets booed at his fucking speeches when he's like, get the vaccine. Boo. It's because people like Dan Bongino, Tucker Carlson, the traditional right wing are like, yeah, we're not on board. We're not on board with this. And they get this free pass where they can be open and honest and be like, yeah, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a little white pill. I think the right is getting a little bit more radicalized. Not enough for me, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But I think the right wing is getting radicalized, and that can go very good or very bad.
My only thing with the right wing is, I think once they get into power, it's back to the status quo.
They get complacent. They get very complacent.
I think it's purposefully complacent. I don't think it's, oh, we have power now, we can do whatever we want. I think it's, we have power now, we can do whatever we want. It's the video games.
Yeah, you might be right.
I don't know, but I guess we'll fucking see. I mean, we're going to be talking about it for the next 4 years. Who knows? We'll see who's fucking right when it comes to election season.
I don't know.
And we got election season this November. So I think you and I need to like hit the books hard. Maybe in our, private shows, you and I can fucking sit there and talk to some people that are more educated about what's gonna be the wave, what color the wave is gonna be for, what is it, Senate this year? Senate or House, or I don't know, whatever.
I think it's all of them. I think they're all up in.
Well, they might be,
because
it'll
one
be
of them, and I
interesting.
don't remember who, every 2 years. I think it's the House. I think they go up every 2 years. So
see, and this is what I'm talking about. We're a shitty ass podcast that doesn't know shit about the fucking shit we're talking about.
we don't know anything. If you made it this far, you're fucking insane.
I know. We gotta fucking end this shit because we're just gonna start sounding more stupid. And we didn't. I was gonna like I messaged you and I was like, all right, here's time to start the drama because we were on two ends of the thing, but then we had a good conversation about it. But we'll start drama with somebody and we're gonna make it big time just because we started drama.
Yeah, we'll start a fuss on Twitter, and I bet, if you're listening, you better not. If you tell, you know what? I'm gonna say this right now. If we start drama on Twitter, and you start telling people that like, oh, they're just doing it as a joke, I'm gonna block you.
Because
I'm gonna use the block because you're a fucking bitch and you're ruining the fun. So if we start drama and you start fucking like, oh, they're just doing it as a joke. Here's a clip from their podcast. I'm like, blocked. I'm done with you. Instant block. I don't really use the block, but I will for this because you're ruining my fun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you and I will text about it and we'll fucking figure out what we're gonna do.
Yes, sir.
We'll do something good. We'll do something good. I think that's all I got. I gotta take a piss. I gotta eat dinner. But I guess that's the fucking shit show.
That's a fucking shit show. We went on about
a lot. That was a good one. I liked it. It was fun. I had a good time.
I had a lot of fun just getting it all out there. We actually like what happens is me and Luke will talk for like 15 minutes and we'll bitch to each other about random shit. But this time we were like, let's not complain. Let's start recording. Let's get it all out there.
Yeah, exactly. And it worked out well. I think that's better. I think that's better.
Yes.
But
I agree.
That's the fucking shit show. I hope you guys fucking enjoyed it. Go check out our website, bitingthebulletpod.com. And yeah, like, share, review. I don't know. Do all that shit. Typo.
I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Fuck with.
Yeah.